Consider an individual assessment with Mathnasium. They'll pinpoint what your child needs to excel, then give them live, face-to-face instruction, either in-center or online, so they can catch up and get ahead. At Mathnasium, math is taught in a way that makes sense to students, so they understand it, master it, and enjoy it. Over 1 million parents have already trusted Mathnasium to give their children an edge in math. The Mathnasium method gives them the critical thinking skills they need to thrive, with the option to attend face-to-face online sessions or come to one of our 1,000 neighborhood learning centers. Mathnasium is changing lives through math. Learn more at mathnasium.com. That's mathnasium.com.
Chicagoland certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns discusses taxes in retirement.
Most people are paying more in taxes and keeping less of their money to live and do what they enjoy. That's why we've put out the retirement tax bill calculator online. You can see with your own eyes just how much you might be overpaying. It's a valuable tool, $500 value, but we made it free for you to view and run your own numbers at mvpcfp.com. That's mvpcfp.com.
To run your retirement tax bill calculator, go to mvpcfp.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC.
Between the Consumer Price Index, inflation, and job reports, it feels like you need a PhD in economics to fully understand the economic news happening around us every day. That's why you need the Everyday Economics Podcast. Join host Chris Krug and economist Dr. Orphe Devungi as they help you understand the economic world happening around you every day. Listen to the Everyday Economics Podcast at americastalking.com or wherever you get your podcast.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Joe Biden's political adversaries have long referred to the Biden crime family, and the former president has now engraved that title into the history books. Just 15 minutes before his term in office ended, he issued sweeping preemptive pardons to his brothers and sister-in-law and to his sister and brother-in-law. These bookend the pardon he previously provided to his son Hunter. Remarkably, the pardons excuse all conduct from 2014 to the present. That covers the time that investigators allege the family collected tens of millions by selling Joe Biden's influence in China, Russia, Ukraine, Romania, and Kazakhstan. Biden wants people to believe Donald Trump was going to pursue his family the way his Justice Department went after Trump. Instead, his conduct simply validates the existing evidence of his family's corrupt dealings. Joe Biden's final act is a gross abuse of power and a fitting end to a failed presidency.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere. Delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Pluto TV.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. When the Babylon Bee reported the other week that President Obama was preparing to divorce Michelle after learning that she was a woman, I was skeptical. I wasn't sure, but now I'm being persuaded that maybe there is something amiss in Obama world. Maybe that they've fallen out of love in some way. Megyn Kelly taking up the rumors that surround the relationship between Barack and Michelle.
There's to be some momentum picking up in the rumor mill about their marriage. First, on January 15th, in the Substack of Jessica Reed Krause, also known as House and Habit, she posts the following. Michelle Obama's absence at Jimmy Carter's funeral certainly raised some eyebrows, but yesterday's announcement that she won't be attending Trump's inauguration confirms something is definitely going on between her and Barack. Whispers about cracks in their relationship have been circulating in D.C. for over a year now, but this feels like the first public proof of a marriage on the rocks. If I had to guess, they will wait until after the inauguration to announce it. Timing, is everything. And yet the story doesn't end there. For months, I've heard Jennifer Aniston's name tied to Barack. Then Jessica cites a DM she received the day before. Quote, "He's with Jennifer Aniston. My old manager, now a friend, is connected to her inner circle. At a gathering with Jennifer's friends, the affair came up casually. Jennifer herself admitted it. They were sitting with a psychic, which makes it sound surreal, but it's definitely not a secret among her closest friends." Then yesterday, Meghan McCain had a discussion about this on her show, suggesting she is hearing the same. She had on Tara Palmieri, who's a reporter, saying, "Fast and furious loud, I've been hearing this rumor about the Obamas getting a divorce from reputable people. I'm not talking about TMZ," she says. "I'm talking about very serious journalists telling me they are hearing that the Obama divorce rumors are true." And Tara, who's a senior political correspondent for Puck, says, "I've certainly heard it for a while, too, even before Michelle said she wasn't coming to the inauguration." I do not know whether this is true at all, but if it is true, it truly would be a political earthquake in Democrat circles. Never mind America. I don't remember a presidential divorce in modern history.
Well, I don't know about the Jennifer Aniston thing. Doesn't he know that she's a woman? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I would have pegged Barack for more of a Ross as opposed to Rachel guy. But
oh my God.
But perhaps I'm just saying, in terms of a fit.
They've been married for 32 years, and I was very circumspect too when I saw that she wasn't at Jimmy Carter's funeral. I'm like, that's not like her, because she shows up for events. She knows what her role is. She's always there. But then, but she was supposed to be sitting next to President Trump in the seating charts, and she knew that ahead of time. So I thought, okay, I'll give her a pass on that. But then she didn't show up for President Trump, and then I thought, maybe it's political. She just doesn't want to support that. She's not proud of her country. Again,
right.
Yeah. But then the rumor mills were flying. But Tara, she used to work for ABC News, and she was a political correspondent, so she does know the Obamas. So when I saw that in Meghan McCain, I thought, I think there's something to this. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on the same line.
I'm sure, I'm not sure about anything with respect to this, but,
it happens.
Maybe there was a wandering eye in the house with Valerie there. I'm talking about Michelle. And so, maybe it's a Michelle move. Maybe it's a Michelle power play, and she and Valerie want, their private space.
No, she and Valerie are not a couple. They are. I don't, from the interactions I've seen with them in the locker room at East Bank Club, they are not a couple. But I will tell you this,
really?
Michelle
what were those
Obama.
Interactions, excuse me. What were those interactions like?
They're like,
to tell.
They're not lovers. They're they're best friends.
Well, what were they doing in the locker room? Give us details.
Well, what do you normally do in a locker room?
I
there was the typical towel fight. No, they were getting ready. Rat tailing. Who's spying on us on the line? No, they were just getting ready. Valerie's daughter was going to get married later that weekend, and she was nervous, and Michelle was talking to her, and
so you were eavesdropping, or you were part of the conversation?
No, I was completely eavesdropping. But they know who I know who they are. They know who I am. And I'll tell you, Michelle Obama she always looks miserable.
It's gorgeous. What stages of undress were they in when they were having this discussion?
No, that we were in robes. Everybody was in robes.
I see.
Like what you get, and then you put your makeup on, and then you put your clothes on, or vice versa, whatever. But I will tell you this: she is, from what I've heard from close associates, wildly jealous of him. Well, women throw themselves at him. Are you kidding me? He can go to an event and come home with a stack of cards. Back in the day when people handed out business cards.
Oh, God.
Well, what? I did an event with him, and women were falling all over him. Kind of like when I go to an event with you, Dan, and women just flock all over you.
The only difference is the woman you're talking about with respect to Barack all look like RuPaul. Mark, and on the south side, Chicago's Morning Answer. Oh, gorgeous.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Things don't happen in isolation. Isn't Kamala also possibly getting divorced?
That rumor was...
I don't know, Mark. Thanks for the call.
I mean, I heard that after the election. They said they were fighting, but they weren't. They were in Hawaii together, decompressing after the loss.
Maybe Michelle wants to connect with a real man like Dog, and together they can fight toxic masculinity. Maybe.
I don't know, but you can't compete with Jennifer Aniston. There's just, game over. I don't care if they've been married 32 years and have 2 kids, grown children at this point in time.
I don't want to be anywhere where Brad Pitt was. He's dirty.
What do you mean?
What I mean, he doesn't shower.
Oh.
Which part of dirty don't you understand? I don't mean
Maybe
dirty
he's
like
conserving water because he lives in L.A., Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Take a sponge bath. Get a wipe.
Jennifer Aniston is well past her sell-by date. But, Barack is... Obama's 60-something.
Right.
60. So, he's, an old man.
Jennifer Aniston is aging very well.
Oh, she's timeless and ageless.
No, she is. Dolly Parton, both are gorgeous. And Michelle Obama's gorgeous.
She likes dirty, like just uncleanly dudes, though. It's not just Brad Pitt.
That's a look in California. That's like the thing.
No. A look. It's a personal grooming issue.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle choice. Okay.
She also dated the front man for Counting Crows.
Yeah.
He's a dirty dude. I wouldn't. Oof.
But I would support if they got divorced. So he was president of the United States. Does this ever happen? Has this ever happened in somebody's lifetime?
Well, there have been presidents that have been divorced, but they haven't gotten divorced post-presidency.
Right.
Presidents and their wives. Yeah, but maybe it's I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
He seemed very happy, footloose and fancy-free at Jimmy Carter's wedding or funeral. He was very lighthearted, laughing with Trump and enjoying himself. Maybe he's enjoying his newfound freedom.
Well, there was this report that he was at some event at a bar in Washington with an unknown woman, but obviously if it was Aniston, that wouldn't be an unknown woman. Oh. People would know who she is. So I don't know if I'm buying that, even though she likes, the Ross-type beta male, which does make sense. George in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, they seemed so happy when they made that call to Kamala during the presidential election. Was that just staged for political reasons?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, George. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, George. I know how naive you are. Yes, those were happier times.
Yeah, they were. Hey, have you ever had a crush on Jennifer Aniston?
No. Okay. Not really. No. I when she first appeared on the scene, it had nothing to do with Friends, because that show was mental violence, intellectual violence.
I hated that show.
But when she first came on the scene, she was part of a sketch comedy troupe. I think it was on Fox, something like a Saturday Night Live or Kids in the Hall, but not as good. Well, not as good as Kids in the Hall, for sure. So that's how I first remember her. And, I kind of liked her in the breakup with Vince Vaughn. I kind of like that, but that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, the Times of India is all over this Obama-Jennifer Aniston affair.
Oh, the paper of
record.
That. Times of India is the paper of record on celebrity relationships, particularly when it involves a former president. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe some marital counseling from Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn is in order.
They could just be, separated for right now. And she was in Hawaii and he's in D.C. and then he's still in D.C. and she's in Hawaii. Then he goes to California.
Do you think they've grown apart? Is that it?
Yeah, they've grown apart. I think
it happens. I don't mean to speak out of school here, but relationships are work.
Oh.
You got to put in the work.
Is that why you're not in one?
Yes. Exactly right.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
What I figured.
Among other reasons.
Uh-huh.
Didn't know Michelle was going to be available.
Oh, you two would be such a good-looking couple.
Yeah. We'd be like a little, Kellyanne Conway and that Marshmallow Man she's married to.
Oh, my God. How did those two hook up?
Yeah. Well, I know people are very concerned about the status of the relationship, so I wanted to broach the subject. I know he is Chicago's favorite son and she's Chicago's favorite daughter, and we can't wait for Obama land, and I know our listeners are going to be in queue when that historic day comes, that the doors fly open and you can see I don't know. I don't
such
actually,
an ugly piece.
I really actually don't know
property.
what's going to be in there.
I don't either. And hopefully they'll find the noose. Which it turned out to be. Well, we don't. It's not official yet, and I did make a phone call on it. That from my sources said it was an electrical cord.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of copies of Dreams from My Father on sale, so you've got that going for you. Anyway, we'll keep you abreast of developments in the relationship between Barack and Michelle and what might be going on there if Megyn Kelly or the Times of India doesn't beat us to the punch. Coming up at 5:38, Trump talks Turkey in Davos. Well, virtually does. 5:38.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
3 degrees above on this Friday morning. Skies are clear for now, and President Trump is making the first trip of his second term today. The president scheduled to visit recent disaster areas in California and North Carolina.
Ahead of President Trump's visit to survey fire damage, reporters.
I look forward to being there on the tarmac to thank the president, welcome him.
Pushing back against the president's criticism of the state's water management.
The State Water Project has nothing to do with the fires here, nothing.
Newsom signing measures approving $2.5 billion in relief for impacted communities.
As it relates to reimbursements, I have all the expectation and belief that we'll be reimbursed for these dollars and that we'll have the support of Congress and the President of the United States. I absolutely believe that.
The state funds will help with efforts including debris removal. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Trump telling reporters he'll be stopping in North Carolina where Tropical Storm Helene caused billions of dollars worth of damage, but FEMA has yet to review many areas. One of President Trump's executive orders already challenged in court. A district judge in Seattle temporarily blocked the president's order aiming to limit birthright citizenship. Washington Attorney General Nick Brown led 3 states in that lawsuit.
It was put into effect to reaffirm what it means to be an American. And so that's why this case was so important.
The judge heard arguments Thursday in a suit also filed by Arizona, Illinois, and Washington. The 17-year-old who fatally shot a student at a Nashville high school live streamed part of that crime. That according to Kick, the streaming platform the shooter used. Shooter killed a female student Wednesday at Antioch High before committing suicide. Travelers this morning can now use Venmo to book a flight on JetBlue Airways. JetBlue announcing it's the first airline to accept payment via Venmo when buying flights directly on the carrier website. Closing arguments continue in the Mike Madigan landmark corruption trial at the Dirksen Federal Building. The possibility of a Chicago Teachers Union strike is growing. CTU President Stacey Davis Gates.
The CEO has stalled, and that since Christmas Eve, we have been doing a minuscule amount of bargaining as compared to the mountain of bargaining we were doing before.
The CTU last went on strike in 2019. Both CPS and CTU have agreed to independent fact-finding. However, with a mediator expected to present findings on February 6, it's expected that the Chicago Teachers Union, as they do routinely, will reject that fact-finding report. Meantime, CPS Board President Sean Hardin facing harsh criticism after apparently requesting a taxpayer-funded Ford Expedition and a personal driver for his part-time, unpaid position. The request would require $154,000 in taxpayer funding. Federal immigration agents conducted the first large-scale arrest operations under the Trump administration, resulting in nearly 500 arrests, about 460 from Tuesday into Wednesday. That included the state of Illinois. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker speculated Tuesday as many as 2,000 could be deported, but Thursday the governor admitted he knows of no specific plans.
The federal government has not communicated with the state of Illinois.
A Republican state senator tells us migrant sanctuary policies enacted by Illinois Democrats are putting people's lives in jeopardy. State Senator Chapin Rose.
Whether it's Lake and Riley,
or these two poor ladies from Urbana last weekend, the Democratic Party in this country and in this state are getting people killed.
And one man is seriously wounded following a police shooting on Chicago's far south side. Officers were called out yesterday to 110th and Millard. On report of a person with a gun, a man leaning out of a window was spotted. Officers attempted to de-escalate the situation, and during that encounter, one officer opened fire, striking the man. The officer was also taken to the hospital for observation, along with the man who is in serious condition. The incident remains under investigation by COPA, and the officer is placed on administrative duties for the next 30 days, as usual. Chicago sports, Bulls lost to Golden State, 131-106. College hoops, number 17 Fighting Illini fell apart in the second half in a loss to Maryland, 91-70. Kasparis Yakachonis had 21 in the losing effort. The news, a service of Valdecast Windows for discerning homeowners looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement service. Contact Valdecast Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella-certified contractor, Valdecast.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
On with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
There is a place in northern Illinois that people have come from all around the globe seeking treasure.
It's amazing. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got there, I was surrounded by all kinds of gold and silver.
An actual place where you're surrounded by treasure?
I've known that gold and silver were a good investment, but I really didn't want to buy it through the mail. At Fox Valley Coins, I basically walked in, picked out what I wanted, paid cash, and walked out with gold and silver.
Walk in with paper and walk out with actual gold and silver bars. For decades, Fox Valley Coins has traded paper dollars for actual gold and silver. They buy and sell. The treasure map is available at foxvalleycoins.com. They are on Route 59, 1 light north of I-88 in Naperville, Illinois. Again, for info and the map, seek foxvalleycoins.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
540 Team Hotberg Traffic Center time. 2 trouble spots, one on the rails, one on the roads. We'll start in Grundy County and I-80. Westbound between the Manuka Interchange and Brisbane is entirely shut down as they investigate a fatal wrong-way accident involving car and a semi that happened much earlier this morning. There are alternate routes posted to get back on to westbound I-80, but for now that remains shut down. Metra Union Pacific Northwest Line trains are delayed inbound to the Ogilvie Transportation Center due to a mechanical failure with one of those trains. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. A cold day. Clouds and sun, high 21. Cloudy, breezy, low 19 overnight. Variable clouds, breezy and warmer with a high of 37 tomorrow. 3 above at O'Hare, 4 above at Midway. If you're out in Aurora, it's bitter cold, 4 below. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Just a postscript on our discussion about the rumors surrounding the marriage of one Barack Obama and one Michelle Obama. Somebody reminded me of him throwing out the first pitch at Comiskey, that limp-wristed throw that he made, and you're telling me that he's going out with Jennifer Aniston. Right, more of a Ross guy.
With the mom jeans on, remember that? The high-waisted pants.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
No, but he's got the smooth moves, man. He is good. He could work a room, and I bet he's working her over. Yeah, woo!
Coming. So anyway, back
Somebody
to
wants to get out of this conversation.
Things that are, firmly grounded. Donald Trump, President Trump, appearing virtually at the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab and his lemmings in Davos. Gosh, I hope Larry Fink was able to attend. Donald Trump really putting it between the eyes of those global elites in Switzerland, declaring this.
Territory to be violated after 4 long years. The United States is strong and sovereign and a beautiful nation. Once again, it's a strong, sovereign nation. In addition, I'm pleased to report that America is also a free nation once again. On day one, I signed an executive order to stop all government censorship. No longer will our government label the speech of our own citizens as misinformation or disinformation, which are the favorite words of censors and those who wish to stop the free exchange of ideas and, frankly, progress. We have saved free speech in America, and we've saved it strongly. With another historic executive order this week, I also ended the weaponization of law enforcement against the American people and, frankly, against politicians, and restored the fair, equal, and impartial rule of law. In 129 years, that's quite nice. What the world has witnessed in the past 72 hours is nothing less than a revolution of common sense. Our country will soon be stronger, wealthier, and more united than ever before, and the entire planet will be more peaceful and prosperous as a result of this incredible momentum and what we're doing and going to do.
The message was unmistakable. You're either on this bus or you're going under the bus. So Europe, mainly he's talking to the Western world, you are on notice. You are on notice where America is coming from and what America is going to be vis-a-vis you, depending on the policy choices you make.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
So you might want to start thinking about making your products in America and basically, following my lead.
To further unleash our economy, our majorities in the House and Senate, which we also took along with the presidency, are going to pass the largest tax cut in American history, including massive tax cuts for workers and family, and big tax cuts for domestic producers and manufacturers. And we're working with the Democrats on getting an extension of the original Trump tax cuts, as you probably know, by just reading any paper. My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury to strengthen our economy and pay down debt. Under the Trump administration, there will be no better place on earth to create jobs, build factories, or grow a company than right here in the good old USA.
And something else he did that was really important is he disabused these Western rent seekers and socialists of all stripes of the notion that these fashionable policies that incubate at the World Economic Forum and get adopted by the EU and European countries individually, America's not on board.
Foreign aid freeze, and I created the new Department of Government Efficiency. I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New Scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I declared a national energy emergency, and it's so important, national energy emergency to unlock the liquid gold under our feet and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
So he did two things there. One was, just as I said, to put it between the eyes of these tax eaters and rent seekers. That's important. But something else he did that Joe Sternberg points out in the Wall Street Journal. The Trump administration is withdrawing from the 2015 Paris Agreement on climate, scrapping the Biden-era electric vehicle mandates, ramping up fossil fuel production, and killing off a global corporate tax agreement. We talked about that yesterday with Steve Moore. Mm-hmm. The first instinct of establishment European politicians and their media enablers is to interpret these steps as affronts to Europe, which they are. But there's something else. Mr. Trump, at least, isn't perpetrating the far bigger affront President Biden committed against our European friends, lying to them. Biden acted as though there were a political consensus in America in support of the policies Europeans liked when there obviously was not. In each instance, all of those policy areas you heard Trump talk about, where he is walking back what Biden did or attempted to do, in each instance, writes Sternberg, Team Biden prompted European governments to act on the assumption that these policies would last, supported by U.S. public approval. And that was a lie. So here we have the revolution of common sense that Trump is talking about and the truth about where the majority of Americans are. And you may want to take judicial notice of these facts, Europe, and follow suit, because it's your prerogative not to, of course, but understand you will suffer economically and in terms of your quality of life. I'm talking about your actual constituents if you don't follow suit. So it's fun to hear him go right at these people, but there was a more important and a bit more subtle message that Sternberg picked up upon. That's the real key, because, of course, we would prefer that Western Europe, the entire West, the entire world, frankly, would follow the example that is being set by Milei in Argentina and is also being set, of course, by Trump here, generally speaking. We prefer that. It's in their interests and it's in our interests. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line.
He just said, he dominated the global stage, even though he did it via Zoom. It's like telling everybody and all of these world leaders and high, elite businessmen that MAGA is back and that we're in charge. And I love the part when he was talking about us, because he always says he'll stick up for us, meaning conservatives and Americans. But when he brought up what Bank of America has done for conservatives, I was very pleased.
I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
He called out Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, by name, and Jamie Dimon, you just heard there at J.P. Morgan. Bank of America tweeted out, Bank of America serves more than 70 million clients, and we welcome conservatives. We would never close accounts for political reasons and don't have a political litmus test. Well,
really?
They turned off the comments on that tweet because we know of cases where they have closed accounts for political reasons. The accounts of, for example, legitimate gun store owners or gun manufacturers. So Trump is pointing to a real thing, and it's interesting it's interesting but not surprising to see how quickly these big bankers, who are mainly rent seekers, walk back what they were doing. The other thing that the other reason it was important, again, thinking about this message that he's delivering to Western civilization, the audience wasn't the room, the audience was the world, particularly the West. He was also sending a message about what, for example, Justin Trudeau did in Canada with the Freedom Convoy and the use of banking institutions in Canada to hamstring those who had blockaded Ottawa, because they opposed the COVID vax mandate. So, this wasn't
their bank accounts.
This wasn't just an American thing, an American phenomenon, of course, and the constituents, the citizens of other countries, of course, experienced this. Politicians know what happened. The world knows what happened. At least much of it does. And so that part of the message was really key. Like, we're not forgetting what you all did. You completely misread the landscape with the policies you pursued. You completely misunderstood what the consequences would be. We're not going to be party to it. We're not going to provide any quarter for it. And again, I would encourage you, I can't force you, but I would encourage you to follow me. Good speech.
It was
Mike in Union, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, all these foreign power brokers and these foreign governments have been buying our minerals, our goods, and selling policies against the American people and just pilfering our money. These people are nothing more than the mob, and I think he just told them, yeah, those days are over, because they financed the pilfering of America at their own profit, including our own politicians. So bravo to that speech.
Thanks for the call, Mike. Well, and there was one of the panel discussions with the usual suspects, some banker from Standard Chartered, which is a British outfit, talking about the net zero efforts and the push by WEF and these sort of constituent partners in the World Economic Forum. The push to the net zero push, which is all under the ESG, the Larry Fink, BlackRock ESG umbrella. And it was, I don't know, perhaps an excited utterance, because you're not usually supposed to raise the specter of, we're basically doing this for the cash?
The reliance on fossil fuels. But when we set this up at Standard Chartered in the beginning, it was two prongs. One was we've got to do our bit to do the right thing vis-a-vis our clients because they want to transition to a net zero environment, but it requires massive investment. That's what we do. We come up with those dollars. But two is we make money. Right? It's a big business for us, and we made we gave the guidance extra.
Yeah. The Green New Deal, of course, it's big. When you have the U.S. government passing trillions of dollars in funny money spending for all of these net zero gambits, the green energy hoax that Trump talked about, yeah, that's a lot of money sloshing around for our clients. So it's really about the money. Oh, of course, we want to do the right thing. We want, yeah. We want to save the planet and all, whatever. Yeah, sure, of course. I'm on board with saving the planet, whatever. But anyway, the real story is, our clients are rent seekers. We encourage them to be rent seekers. We're rent seekers. And look at the trillions of dollars that these Western governments want to spend tilting at windmills, literally and metaphorically. Thank you for that, British banker. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
For over 23 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has offered boilers, water heaters, and exhaust venting to commercial mechanical contractors. They aid in the selection of standard and high-efficiency hydronic system equipment for replacement or new construction. From schools to churches to high-rises and hotels, Applied Mechanical provides high-quality, cost-effective Camus boilers and water heaters in many of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Mechanical design firms trust Applied Mechanical to support them by specifying the size and type of boiler to best match a building's load profile for the worst of Chicago weather conditions. Engineers and contractors can be confident that they'll experience trouble-free operation for the next 15 to 20 years. Applied Mechanical Sales ensures their boilers are properly installed and operate at peak efficiency long after the initial startup. Go to appliedmechanicalsales.com to schedule a site visit and boiler replacement assessment. That's appliedmechanicalsales.com.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We want to be first to report that the city of Evanston has updated its welcoming city ordinance. We'll focus on that model that is the city of Evanston at 6:06.
And speaking of illegals, what a bad look for Biden and Barack. It is now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
538.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is the number we're getting from the White House of what it calls illegal immigrant criminals rounded up in nationwide immigration enforcement raids. Fox's Bill Malugion's been there for some of the raids in Boston.
We witnessed ICE arresting a combative Haitian man who ICE says is a gang member with 17 criminal convictions. And he had this to say.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Fox News witnessed ICE make a handful of arrests of other egregious criminal aliens. They include an MS-13 gang member wanted for aggravated murder in El Salvador.
They're also getting a Trump immigration executive order that's been blocked, aiming to end birthright citizenship enshrined in the Constitution, making anyone born in the U.S. an American.
A federal judge in Seattle saying this, quote, "I've been on the bench for over 4 decades. I can't remember another case that presented a question as clear as this one. This is a blatantly unconstitutional order."
Fox's Chandler Painter. This morning, President Trump will take his first trip since returning to the White House, telling Fox's Hannity,
"I'm stopping in North Carolina, first stop, because those people were treated very badly by Democrats."
Some residents in the Asheville area complain of a slow response and recovery in the September hurricane flooding disaster. Later today, President Trump will go survey the Los Angeles wildfire disaster. He's threatened to withhold federal aid, blaming water mismanagement. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, calls that misinformation.
Maybe the president just doesn't know that there's not a spigot that can be turned to solve all the water problems that he alleges exist that don't exist.
Now tonight, Senate Republicans may confirm Pete Hegseth as defense secretary, though there were 2 Republicans who were against him in a procedural vote yesterday. Hegseth denies allegations of sexual misconduct and alcohol abuse. America's listening to Fox News.
3 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Closing arguments continue in Michael Madigan's landmark corruption trial. Prosecutors laid out 2 bribery schemes believed to have involved ComEd and AT&T in Illinois, and prosecutors also coined a new phrase in court yesterday: "Make Mike Madigan money," a plan that helped the former Illinois House Speaker, according to prosecutors, gain profits. The possibility of a Chicago teachers union strike is growing. CTU President Stacey Davis Gates accuses CPS of deliberately stalling. CTU negotiators say CPS is crying poor.
The district actually wants the fact finder to only look at what's in the bank account right now, which is like deciding if you can pay rent based on what's in your pocketbook rather than in your next paycheck.
The CTU last went on strike in 2019, and negotiators say there is no reserve fund to dip into.
The CTU continues to push a false narrative, claiming that CPS has over $1 billion in our reserves. This is not true. If CPS had any significant level of reserves, we would not be borrowing over $1 billion at various points in the year just to make payroll.
Both CPS and CTU have agreed to independent fact-finding by February 6. Chicago Teachers Union routinely rejects most fact-finding reports. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker speculated Tuesday about 2,000 migrants that could be deported from the Chicago area alone, but as of Thursday, the governor admits he knows of no specific plans.
I mean, we should stand up for them. That is the right thing to do. But he's trying to tear things down. Republican
state senator says migrant sanctuary policies enacted by progressives and Illinois Democrats are putting people's lives in jeopardy. State Senator Chapin Rose.
Not just the dollars of the taxpayer nonsense they've caused. That's bad enough. You're really putting people's lives in jeopardy.
The true identity of a man charged in an Urbana hit and run that killed 2 North suburban women has been uncovered. Police say amended charges were filed in Champaign County for the suspect after authorities learned that Juan Saenz Suarez was an alias. He's now been identified as Julio Bol, a 29-year-old citizen of Guatemala. Bol was arrested in Texas while riding a bus fleeing to Mexico. 20-year-old Catherine Abraham of Glenview died Sunday. Chloe Polzin, a 21-year-old woman from Deerfield, succumbed to her injuries on Monday. 3 others are in serious to critical condition. The Bulls unravel in the second half of a 131-106 loss to Golden State. College hoops last night. Kasper Yakachonis had 21 in a losing effort as the Fighting Illini fall to Maryland, 91-70. The news is a service of Team Hochberg. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates and service. Let Team Hochberg help you. Visiting 56david.com or 855-563-2843. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John tomorrow afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right tomorrow afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, I'm 80 years old. I'm a veteran, and the reds and the greens, I really appreciate the vegan capsules from Balance of Nature. So I can definitely tell you it's all 100% positive. It really, really works.
I love the fiber and spice. I'm getting started back on the fruits and vegetables, but the fiber and spice, it's the best fiber I've ever taken in the last 20 years.
It's the best gift I've ever given myself. I just feel better. I swear it's due to Balance of Nature.
I am really, really happy with the product and couldn't say more to advise people to buy them.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Not sure if you've heard, but President Trump says Newsmax is really terrific. He also says Americans are tuning into Newsmax because it's really good. Are you one? Newsmax is now on all major cable networks, and Newsmax 2, our streaming channel, is on all big OTT platforms like Roku, Samsung, Amazon, and more. But you really need to get Newsmax Plus. It's our streaming service with all of the top Newsmax shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Greg Kelly, Chris Alcedo, and others. You'll get great analysis from Dick Morris, Carrie Lake, Alan Dershowitz, Mike Huckabee, and more. Newsmax Plus covers all the major Trump rallies and news events, even the ones Fox News won't. Check out Newsmax Plus now and start your free trial today. It costs nothing to start. Go to newsmaxplus.com to register. Then download the app and start watching. Millions are watching Newsmax. Go to newsmaxplus.com today.
6:09, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Fox Valley Coins. This is a great time to bring in your scrap gold, jewelry, and sterling flatware. Cash or check offered on the spot, foxvalleycoins.com. Eisenhower, accident, left lane block, car into the wall, inbound right at 294, the Tri-State Tollway. Dan Ryan's stop and go already between 35th and the Circle. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, stop and go northbound right at Bryn Mawr. Reagan, I-88, an accident westbound between Yackley and Naperville Road near the accident site. Right there, the road is down to one lane. The 4 left lanes are blocked. Traffic again is only getting by on the right in the right lane, westbound I-88, the Reagan at Naperville Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, times of clouds and sun, a cold day. High today only 21. Cloudy, breezy night tonight, low 19. Variable cloudiness and breezy, not as cold tomorrow, the high 37. Sunny and cold Sunday, the high at 28. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
3 at O'Hare, 4 at Midway, 1 in Joliet, 1 in Waukegan, 7 above along Chicago's lakefront, 7 below in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Bill Malugin, reporter for Fox News, who has done great work covering all things immigration and border security related for many years now. He was embedded again, he's done this before, embedded again with an ICE unit that is out looking to work off a list of people in this country illegally who are also threats to the public safety, to apprehend them and move them through the process of deportation. He embedded with such a unit, and here's his report.
Good morning, everyone.
It's a frigid 5 degrees in the pre-dawn hours just outside of Boston, where this team of elite ICE officers is briefing on their targets for the day.
We're going to be targeting some extremely violent offenders today.
Within moments, the officers are on the move, with eyes on their first target.
Looks like we got movement, target vehicle coming out.
They quickly take him into custody. He's an MS-13 gang member wanted in El Salvador for aggravated murder. And he has an Interpol red notice out for his arrest.
We are targeting very violent threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
He's not going back after Trump. Biden forever. Tom Homan was asked about that Haitian that was profiled in the Malugin report, and he had this to say.
You see that video, I'm curious, what do you think?
I'm not going back to Haiti. Trump.
Well, he's wrong. He's going back to Haiti. I tell him that.
Well, we'll see you later then.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on that very same line. When I saw this video, and he's so mouthy. I mean, they're getting so lippy while they're getting arrested after they've committed 17 crimes. This one guy saying, I'm not going back to Haiti, and singing the praises of Biden and Barack. I mean, what a bad look for the Democratic Party and for Biden when this guy is saying, I love praising them, singing their praises on the way out. And F Trump. I mean, come on. These are the reason when he got arrested yesterday, that lippy, mouthy Haitian, they're preventing future crimes because he has a pattern, that guy. So praising Tom Homan, thank God, and thank God for President Trump. So far, 538 have been arrested. And as that report continues, they arrested so many different people for so many different crimes. And yes, they took in, Dan, somebody that did not commit a crime, but was with a criminal in an apartment in Boston who was here illegally. So good for them.
Of course, the fact that they're able to move as quickly all over the country on individuals that they have knowledge of speaks to what ICE was not able to do during the Biden administration, which is to apprehend and remove these people. That was purposeful. They didn't just build this list, have this background on these individuals overnight. They've had it all along. So that's something else I hope resonates with people. There was a conscious choice made by the previous administration not to remove these gangbangers and otherwise violent criminals that you just heard a few examples of in that Malugin report. And yet here we have the lecturing that continues. that the people that are protecting violent criminals in this country illegally, they are the ones who stand for the rule of law. They are the ones standing up for their residents. They are the ones providing for the public safety, combating the fear being stoked by the Trump administration. And I'm curious what you think the response should be, and I mean specifically, what the response should be to the rhetoric you're hearing from the Jelly Bellies and the BLM Brandons of the world, because this is focus group tested lingo. This is the sentimentality that they've gotten away with, and they think they can continue to get away with on this and other issues. And so there needs to be a response to it, a consistent, succinct response to it. And I'd like to hear people think through this, because it's not just up to me or candidates for office. It's also up to you within your circles of influence, as we often point out. Jelly Belly and BLM Brandon together again. It's wonderful. I'm glad they're not breaking up. They had a little presser to announce another small business grant program to try to buy votes. But, of course, the Q&A immediately turned to the situation with the sanctuary designation of Illinois, Chicago, and the posture of the Trump administration. Jelly Belly.
But he's trying to tear things down. I'm talking about Donald Trump and his administration, Tom Homan, people at the Department of Homeland Security. They're the ones that are threatening people, again, who are law-abiding, who are often the anchors of their communities, who are paying taxes in this country. They're the ones who are threatening people. We're just standing up for people who live in our state and in our city.
What's the response? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. They are the anchors of their communities. We are standing up for people who live in our state and city. That's all we're doing, because we're law followers.
We will stand up for anybody who is standing up for the law. We follow the law in the state of Illinois. I'm very concerned that Donald Trump and the federal government is not going to be following the law. Indeed, they have proposed getting rid of birthright citizenship.
Good.
For many families, imagine, we all ought to stand up for the Constitution. This president does not.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I mean, how tone deaf is the Democratic Party and Governor Pritzker right now?
I don't know. How tone deaf are they? I'm not sure they're tone deaf at all in Illinois. Are you?
And they brings up birthright citizenship. Deflect. Oh, look at the pink elephant in the room. I mean, the work that they've done so far, he should be praising that, because Pritzker has said, and I have heard him say it, that if they broke the law and committed a crime, yes, they should be deported.
They have committed a crime. Everyone here illegally has committed a crime, but that's not what he said. He said violent crime, because, of course, he wants to draw that line so he has some protection. That's what I'm saying. This is all very specific. This is all very contrived, the language they're using. So you better have a response to it, or a characterization of it. And calling them tone deaf is tone deaf, because they have surveyed the landscape and you have not. You're tone deaf. Why? Because Trump won? What does that have to do with Illinois and Chicago, where he got 44% of the vote statewide? BLM Brandon got in on the act.
We are not going to interfere, but we're certainly not going to cooperate with that type of abhorrent behavior. And we are a sanctuary city. We are a sanctuary and welcoming state. That has not changed because of who won the election. And that's not going to change. Any of the measures that the president is looking to execute against working people in the city of Chicago, we will defend our city. It's just that simple. If he's serious about making America a place where every single individual can have an opportunity, then he should use his authority to work with the city of Chicago to build more affordable homes. Does that include he has the ability to help invest in building more economic opportunity. We are going to defend the interests of working people, and we're very proud to do that. Thank you all.
Defend the interests of working people. We're the constructive force. We're happy to engage on the president to expand opportunity. We're law followers. We follow the law. He doesn't follow the law. We're agents of stability. He's agents of chaos. What's the response? And by the way, the commentary you heard there, I mean, I'm glad Ben Bergquam was there to record this, but, shouting out things at a press conference is unhelpful.
I know. I watched the whole thing. I'm like, stop, take a breath. Insert yourself where you should be inserted. But the one thing, the blue states, cities like Chicago, they can't have these people deported because we lost so much in population that they're backfilling with illegals so that they can keep their congressional districts.
So that's the message, you think?
No, I mean, help me out. What do you think the message should be, Dan?
No, I'm not. I'm tired of helping out. I want it more. I want help.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, or you could text us.
By the way, just in terms of some context for what's happened in the first 3 days, and for people saying, oh, it's only 300, it's only 400, it's only 538, we need to have 2,000 a day. And this, hey, why don't you let Tom Homan get situated? He doesn't even have a nameplate for his desk yet.
Right.
Okay, I mean,
he hasn't moved into his office officially. He's just working.
Take a breath. Take a breath. Let's understand what's happening. Let's also understand just what the change in culture means. So, for example, to my point, Border Patrol encounters at the southern border are down 35% in the first 3 days of Trump's presidency. So that's the message that has been sent out the world over. We're enforcing the border again. You're not just going to be escorted into this country. Makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. Makes the problem more manageable to begin with. Now, the problem of who's here is still massive, of course, but, it's not a light switch. But we got good people, starting with Homan, that are off to a quick start in the right direction. Mark in Oak Lawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. Thanks for taking my call. Pritzker, he's got the teacher's pension, $200 billion. That the money's not there. It's ghost money. And, I was listening to local news, and they were talking about homelessness in Chicago, and it's up 65%. And they've got some shill up there, and she's in charge in Chicago, and she says, well, we're going to do something. We're just waiting for federal money, And they don't care about the people at all. They've created all these monstrous programs with bringing all these people in here. And I feel for the people because they're just being pawns. They're being used by the Democrats for votes and for cheap labor. They don't care about the people at all. And I think
okay. So how, I get that. So how do you get to the useful idiots? No, in your conversation with useful idiots, these people you feel sorry for. I don't, but you do. What do you say to them? What do you say to them that has any resonance?
Dan, they're human beings, and you have to have respect for human beings.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I didn't say. Hold on. Stop talking over me. And I'm tired of hearing the same laments. I didn't say I didn't respect them as human beings entitled to dignity. I said I don't have sympathy for them for being willfully blind, because I treat people as individuals with agency. They're not sad sack cases. They're part and parcel of decisions that have been made in the city and state, aren't they? So everybody has to stand up and be accounted. Now, what do you say to people is the question. So I have to rephrase it 5 times. It's a simple question. It's not a simple answer. Not simple to answer, but it's a simple question. What do you say to people on this topic that you think moves them, that has resonance, against the backdrop of this is like a thought experiment? Is that okay? Can we think in this city and state? What do you say to them that moves them off of gobbling up Jelly Belly, telling them how he is a rule of law adherent, how he and BLM Brandon are standing up for working people, how they are the constructive force willing to engage the Trump administration to expand opportunity, but we're going to protect our people? It's just this cursing the darkness. What do you say to those people that you have such regard for that are completely at the opposite side of you on this issue and so many others? The conversation like we had yesterday with that retired pastor, Father Dowling. Okay, Mark, try again. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Dan. Dan, are you still there?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just think that Pritzker, he's a liar and he doesn't care about the people. And there's not a, right now Illinois, we're just with all these pensions and there's no money and there's no accountability. It's a bust. I don't know a whole lot you can do. You just got to vote these clowns out.
Thanks for the call, Mark.
Well, I always start by telling people, I had a conversation last night. I said, well, you know why they're here? And they're like, no. And I said, because we have hemorrhaged so many residents of Illinois and other blue states too, California and New York. So they have to fill the gap with residents. So do they want people to get deported? No, they need them here. They don't care about us. They're not putting Chicagoans first. They don't care. They just need the numbers. They need the people. They need the bodies. But that's not the message. So help me out. Anybody?
Anthony, Northside.
How you doing, Dan and Amy? I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. One being that Brandon Johnson's admitting that, he's giving opportunity to illegal immigrants, but yet not our own. And secondly, my question for you would be, what's happening with all the Illinois toll booth money that's supposed to be going to the CTU? The prices are going up, but nothing's going on with the schools that they keep requesting year after year after year.
Thanks for the call, Anthony. We'll get Quarters Boyle on the phone to find out where the toll booth money is. The
$4.25 to go to work every day.
The point about opportunities for them versus us. What if it was the case that they don't make a distinction between them and us, between citizens and people here illegally? What if that's the case? What if that's the premise they're starting from, and that's the premise that the majority of Illinois residents buy into? Then what do you say? Do you ever consider that maybe on some of these matters we're talking past the premise, and so it's unpersuasive to people that you're trying, that may be well-intended and willfully blind, blithely ignorant, but maybe persuadable, but they've already accepted the premise from which BLM Brandon and Jelly Belly start from, from which they start. Mike in Tinley Park.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Love your show and long-time listener.
Thank you.
Dan, until they start locking, if they don't start locking up some of these officials for breaking the law, a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state is breaking the law, okay? And until they start locking up these people for breaking the law, they're going to think they can get away with anything. And if that was President Trump being a mayor or a governor of a state or a city, they'd want him in jail. They'd lock him up. They'd make him an example. And that's what needs to be done. These people are not enforcing the law. They're breaking the law. And then for the mayor to say, I want to jack up the property taxes because of what we've given to the illegal aliens. What does that make the hardworking people think of Chicago? They're taken for saps. What don't these people see? I don't understand.
Well, thanks for the call, Mike. What don't these people see? That's the question. The city of Evanston, People's Republic of, they want you to know this memorandum to the Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council from Liza Robertson Young, of course, hyphenated, Chief Legislative Policy Advisor. The current welcoming ordinance, just even that phraseology, again, welcoming city ordinance, that needs to be updated, needs to be toughened up. So I want you to know that the elders in Evanston are on the job. The updated welcoming city ordinance in Evanston, which I'm sure will be used as a model at the Northwestern Municipal Conference meetings and around the Chicagoland area, ensures the city will not participate in civil immigration enforcement with any immigration agent, including not only ICE, but also agents from other federal agencies and anyone managing an immigration detention facility. Ensures the city will not share any city database or data sharing platform with immigration officials or any other federal agency, blah, blah, blah. Prohibits the city from entering into agreements with the federal government that deputize state or local law enforcement to enforce federal immigration law. Directs a supervising officer that should make the decision about whether a request for an immigration agent is related to enforcing civil immigration law. Requires the city to develop policies in its public facilities that limit immigration enforcement operations on their premises, and so on and so forth. So here again, I make the point, I mean, I know the Village of Tinley Park passed an ordinance back when the buses were not just dropping off individuals in the city, but in the suburbs too, saying we're not accepting the buses and so on and so forth. But it just hasn't taken hold. So you want to do something? People say, I want to engage. What do I do? How do I do? Okay, well, as I said a couple of times now, and I'll keep beating the drum, why don't you go to your municipal officials wherever you live, your county officials, your county prosecutor, DA, state's attorney, county board members, county board chairman, and say, where is a resolution saying that we reject the sanctuary state designation in Illinois? And that here is a statement of principle from our perspective as a unit of government about abiding the rule of law and working constructively with federal law enforcement as sort of a general statement of principle. Who's doing that? Where are the local officials taking up this issue, speaking out, using their perch as effectively a legislator, if you're on a municipal board or a county board, to move an ordinance, move legislation, even just a resolution? If you move an ordinance, it's in violation of the state ordinance. I get it. But move a resolution, just as Tinley Park moved a resolution against bus drop-offs of illegals in their community when that was current. So, but instead, what do we have? We have the left moving to strengthen their sanctuary city ordinances with cover over the top from Chicago and Illinois, and those on the center right doing what? Jordan and Antioch, quickly.
Hello?
Hey, Jordan.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. So to your point, and this is exactly what went through my head when I heard that they did, like within hours, they had 300 and some guys arrested. You don't just put that together overnight. There's files on these guys to know where to go. And that means the guys that were in there prior to Homan had this information. They knew where these people were at. They knew what these people were doing to the American public. So my question is, how many of those are in Illinois, in not just Chicago, up here in up northern Illinois, Wheeling, Waukegan, in all the other areas? How many of those are there that J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson and all those that are supporting this know about and willingly let them stay here and don't do anything?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jordan. We got to go, but that's a good question, and we're going to get you an answer to that, actually. We're looking into that very issue of names, ranks, and serial numbers and rap sheets for Chicagoland, so that we will put this out the same way we put out those released under the Safety Act. So people can have the information. It can be, personified with actual human beings who have done actual bad things and are supported by those alleged law followers like Jelly Belly Pritzker. Coming up at 6:36, we'll turn our attention to Doge and DEI with Phil Kerpen.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
6:33, we have 3 degrees above zero. A chilly start to this Friday as relatives are still being held by militants in Gaza. And those relatives are calling on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this morning to ensure all remaining captives of Hamas terrorists are freed. They also made an appeal to President Donald Trump this morning. Thousands of pro-life activists are coming to Washington for the annual March to Life. Here's Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Vice President J.D. Vance is a part of a high-profile list of speakers scheduled to address the March for Life. That includes House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune. The Senate this week failed to break the filibuster on the Born Alive Act, a bill supporters say would have offered protections for abortion survivors. President-elect Trump has been called a pro-life president by those in the pro-life movement. But the president has said he would not push for a national abortion ban, and the issue will remain up to the states. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
150,000 marchers are expected. President Donald Trump making his first trip of his second term today. The president scheduled to visit California and North Carolina. The Senate voting largely along party lines to advance Pete Hegseth President Trump's nominee to serve as Secretary of Defense. Democrats have argued he's unqualified. Majority Leader John Thune is looking for unity.
They all bring their own views to this, and I tell senators, your vote is your vote. Be with the team when you can. Don't ever surprise us. Don't tell us one thing and do something else. And so we try and make sure that as much as we can, we've got everybody pulling together.
A 51-49 vote to end debate on Hegseth's nomination sets a final confirmation vote for today. One of President Trump's executive orders is already challenged in court. A district judge in Seattle temporarily blocked the president's order aiming to limit birthright citizenship. Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown.
I think what the order today reinforces is that no one individual, not even the President of the United States, can simply erase what it means to amend the Constitution and the process therein.
The possibility of a Chicago teachers union strike is growing. CTU President Stacey Davis Gates accuses CPS CEO Pedro Martinez of deliberately stalling contract talks. CPS Board President Sean Hardin facing criticism after requesting a taxpayer-funded Ford Expedition and a personal driver for his part-time unpaid position. The request would cost taxpayers about $154,000. A Cook County judge is tossing a lawsuit filed by embattled Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard. Henyard sued Thornton Township Democrats last month after she lost the caucus for Thornton Township Supervisor. State Senator Napoleon Harris instead received the Democrat nod. The decision affirms caucus results. Bulls lost to Golden State, 131-106. College hoops last night. Fighting Illini fall apart in a loss to Maryland at Assembly Hall, 91-70. 6:37. We'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
So, how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly, or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
Jeff Tishlar, author of High Tech versus the Highest Tech, has shared his knowledge of the spectacular things that we see in nature, as opposed to what man has created, and how this should inform one's faith. Jeff served on the mission field all over the world and has created this highly illustrated and concisely written technical book. The easy-to-read format is understood from the youngest reader to the most intelligent and mature readers. Google and Amazon book reviews include, "This is the best little book I have ever read. It is amazing how much information is in this book." And a beautifully written and illustrated book. The author has a gift for describing complicated technical details in a very understandable style. This book is available now in paperback on Amazon. Search High Tech versus the Highest Tech by Jeff Tischler. 100% of proceeds go to missions. That's High Tech vs. The Highest Tech by Jeff Tischler.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
640 Team Hotberg Traffic Center time. This update is a service of True Green. Get a golf course quality lawn that's more affordable than you think. Don't wait. Sign up at truegreen.com for 75% off your first service. True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. TrueGreen.com. Reagan I-88, they've cleared an accident right before Naperville Road that had shut things down for a time. I-80 in Grundy County, westbound from the Manuka interchange to Brisbane Road remains closed after a fatal wrong-way driver and a semi collided much earlier this morning. All traffic is diverted off at Ridge Road and onto an alternate route back onto I-80. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Cold with times of clouds and sun today. A high of 21. Cloudy, breezy, 19 overnight, 37 tomorrow. Clear and 3 above right now. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It was instructive, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the program, what Trump had to say to the Davos crowd yesterday. Not just that he was essentially telling the West what time it is in America again, disabusing them of the lies about consensus on Biden policies that the previous regime advanced, but also telling them in very clear language, this is the path you should follow with me. And I thought it was important that he began his remarks by focusing on our first freedoms, like freedom of speech, that unfortunately is not protected in other countries the way it is and should be in the United States.
Territory to be violated after 4 long years. The United States is strong and sovereign and a beautiful nation. Once again, it's a strong, sovereign nation. In addition, I'm pleased to report that America is also a free nation once again. On day one, I signed an executive order to stop all government censorship. No longer will our government label the speech of our own citizens as misinformation or disinformation, which are the favorite words of censors and those who wish to stop the free exchange of ideas and, frankly, progress. We have saved free speech in America, and we've saved it strongly.
And, you know, maybe that was in part Musk-inspired, the treatment from Brazilian judges to EU commissars of social media companies, starting with X. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Phil Kerpen, president of the American Commitment and chairman of the Internet Freedom Coalition. Phil, thanks for being with us.
Hey, my pleasure.
Trump's emphasis on dismantling the censorship industrial complex in this country as a message to the rest of the world to, I don't know, perhaps like in places I mentioned, and even at the domestic level, where we've seen this horrific treatment of people in the Britain being arrested for social media posts and so forth that offend somebody. It was really a blow for promotion of free speech and free expression the world over, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. The not just the tape speech that Trump sent, but the live speech that Javier Milei gave, and the response. It's interesting. You had all of the ultra elites, the elites of the elites, who gather in Davos for this thing, and a year ago they were all talking about how Malayism was a disaster, and Trump was never coming back, and this year it's like they've got to reconcile themselves to the world as it actually is, and it's the opposite of what they wanted and that they stood for and that they spent all kinds of money to create. And neither of those guys really minced any words about their victories and about what they've accomplished. And of course, Milei had already won his election a year ago, but he's everything he's done has worked, which is the opposite of what they all said would happen. And Trump is now standing up for basic Western values as well, and particularly the value of free speech and free expression, which, most of these countries don't have a First Amendment or anything like it, including Great Britain, where, as you pointed out, they've fallen pretty far in terms of, actually putting people in jail for social media posts. And Trump is saying, that it's wrong. He's articulating the case for that, and it's pretty hard to dispute what he's saying, I think.
Well, and also you have social media companies that are subject to American social media companies that are subjected to massive fines for violating the diktats of the EU when it comes to content moderation, and that's part of it, right?
I love that part of his speech where he said, look, you might not love Facebook or Apple or Google, but these are like some of the greatest companies in the world, and they're American companies, and Europe needs to back off all of their crazy rules and regulations and fines and taxes on these companies, because we're going to push back and fight against you. And by the way, he's sending Andy Puzder, the former CEO of Carl's Jr., to Brussels as the U.S. ambassador to the EU. And Andy is a pretty aggressive guy. He's going to represent U.S. interests, I think, very effectively, and be a great spokesman for Trump over there.
Yeah, we've had him on our show many times. He's going to be good. Very, very much aligned. You're right. I wanted to get to something else that you're doing that with respect to pardons, and that is you have proposed, the organizations that you represent, have proposed a constitutional amendment on the issue of pardons. Explain.
It was actually a law professor at Harvard, one of the only good guys at Harvard. Stephen Sachs is the Antonin Scalia chair at Harvard. He proposed this when the Hunter Biden pardon came out, and we didn't really know how necessary this was until the last day when he pardoned the whole rest of his family and Anthony Fauci and all these other insane pardons. It's a very simple amendment. It says there's no pardon power from 30 days prior to the election until the inauguration of a new president, other than a temporary emergency pardon that ends 10 days after the new president comes in. So if there's some exigency, there's an exception for that, but that would be rare and temporary. And basically, if you want to pardon your family or pardon someone who's going to be wildly controversial like an Anthony Fauci or whatever, you got to do it a month before the election so that your party can be held accountable on election day. And if that's a problem for you, then you can't issue the pardon because they're not going to be lame duck pardons anymore. And I can't imagine what argument there is against this. And by the way, all the Democrats who might be thinking, I don't know if I'm for this because it makes Biden look bad, you want Trump to have lame duck pardons? Or you want his pardon power to end before the election? I think, I know it's very hard to amend the Constitution. How can anyone be against this after what we just saw?
Well, and then you have this morning, Jamie Raskin and AOC have filed articles of impeachment against President Trump for pardoning the J6
pardon abuses,
prisoners.
Right. I mean, we see Biden with the most corrupt, insane abuse of the pardon power in U.S. history, 8,000 some pardons, murderers, all kinds of crazy things, 6 of his own family members, Anthony Fauci back to 2014 for illegally funding gain-of-function research, all this stuff. And then you got these Democrats in the House. You know what we need to do? We need to impeach Trump over pardon. Okay.
That didn't take long. 72 hours in?
The
Every time a
Fauci.
Democrat does something bad, their answer is impeach Trump. It's great. I mean, I don't know.
Well, sure. I mean, so look at him. So you're not looking at us, right? The Fauci thing is we've been kicking this around since that pardon came out. Is that why you think it dates back to 2014? Because that's when the gain of function research funding started that he said never occurred.
Well, I mean, I think it has to be. He certainly committed perjury on many occasions, but those were all in the last couple of years. So if this is about the perjury, of which he's obviously guilty, it wouldn't have needed to go back nearly so far.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2014 date lines up pretty neatly with when we started funding work at the Wuhan Institute of Virology with U.S. taxpayer dollars. That the consensus now of, and we'll never know 100%, but the evidence is the preponderance of the evidence now shows that research that was funded with our U.S. tax dollars in violation of U.S. law and policy probably resulted in the creation of the COVID virus.
Yeah, it's just astounding. I mean, it's just astounding. Phil Kerpen, President of the American Commitment, that's the organization sponsoring this constitutional amendment proposal that we were just discussing, no lame duck pardons. He's also chairman of the Internet Freedom Coalition. Phil, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a good one.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Itching to swing that 9-iron but don't want to wait until the spring thaw? You're in luck because the Tinley Park Golf Show is here to help. Golfers of all ages and skill levels are invited to come out from January 31st to February 2nd at the Tinley Park Convention Center for 3 days of golfing fun, including a driving range, aisles of newly released equipment and apparel from the Chicago area's top retailers. Test your skills by competing in the Guess Your Best Drive and Longest Putt competitions where the winners receive a $1,000 prize. We'll also have a demo area with top manufacturer representatives from Callaway, Wilson, Touredge, Cobra, Mizuno, and Cleveland. Don't forget to stop by our famous 19th Hole Bar and Lounge to catch a live telecast of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Get your tickets online today at visittinleypark.com/golf show. Again, that's visittinleypark.com/golf show.
Don't do it. Don't go another year, another day with chronic pain in your hips, knees, back, elbows, shoulders, pain due to an injury or simply old age or arthritis. Call our good friends at QC Kinetics if you want lasting relief without surgery, without drugs, without any downtime. We're talking about regenerative medicine, and you can revitalize your joints with that advanced ortho biologic treatments at QC Kinetics. Again, no steroids, no drugs, no surgery. This is the future of medicine, folks. And they use an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis and an injury. So many of our neighbors have discovered these cellular treatments and are living life again pain-free. Get your life back. And if you want to learn more about how you can refresh your joints and get lasting relief with these amazing treatments, then call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. It's great. They have so many offices throughout the Chicagoland area, and they'll walk you through the process and see if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics. Deal with joint pain no longer, folks. Call this number, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-208-0414, 800-208-0414. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-208-0414, 800-208-0414, and give us your answer. The preceding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
All right. This new year, don't forget your Balance of Nature supplements, a proud supporter of this radio station for 10 years. Consume what your body desperately needs every day to stay healthy, happy, and energized. And that's fruits and veggies. Not getting enough on your own? Well, supplementing with Balance of Nature is the way to go. 6 capsules. Excuse me. You're getting 31 different fruits and veggies. Your body's going to love it. Your mind and heart will thank you for it. So order your fruits and veggies today, 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35%, 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Coupon code Chicago.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
Are you an administrator, staff member, or parent volunteer at a private school? Would you like to grow your current enrollment and welcome new families to your school? If so, we want to tell you about a great opportunity to help increase enrollment and promote your school to families all across Chicagoland. It's called ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. They work to connect private schools with new families who are looking for discounted first-year tuition. In exchange, your school will receive a marketing campaign to help grow your enrollment. Chicagoland School Vouchers does all the work to bring new families together with your school and help you expand your reach. They've been working with schools across Chicagoland for over a decade. As the demand for school choice grows here in Illinois, your private school needs to take advantage of this program. To learn more, just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
AM 560, The Answer.
Speaking of pardons, as we were with Phil Kerpen, important to note Trump struck another blow for justice, pardoning 23 peaceful pro-life activists who were charged under this affront to free speech called the FACE Act, which should be repealed, including the high-profile case of a half a dozen peaceful pro-life protesters in Tennessee, senior citizens too, in Tennessee. So they've been pardoned. Congratulations to our friend Peter Breen and the Thomas More Society for pushing for and obtaining these pardons for these peaceful protesters. Congress should move to repeal the FACE Act as well.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:07, President Zelensky says he is willing and ready and willing, I should say, to deal to end the war in Eastern Europe. And Trump threatens Putin with tariffs if he won't constructively engage. We'll start there with Cliff May, Foundation of Defense of Democracy, 7:07.
And later, Senior Pastor Corey Brooks joins us. And don't forget Open Mic Friday. But now let's head into the newsroom for news Here at home and around the world, very busy man as always. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
And on I-80 this morning, just a note to travelers who are heading westbound, they've just reopened all lanes from an earlier wrong-way fatal accident. So I-80 has been reopened. We'll have details on that coming up in traffic in just a moment. Closing arguments continue in the Mike Madigan corruption trial, a possible strike by CTU. The possibility grows. Bulls get crushed by the Warriors, Fighting Illini hammered at home by Maryland. WIND, Chicago News Time is 7.
He's about to take his first trip as president again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and he tells Fox's Hannity this is why he'll go to flood-ravaged areas of North Carolina first.
We're going to get that thing straightened out because they're still suffering from a hurricane from months ago.
Flood victim Matt Van Swal tells Fox.
We've been yelling into the void, it feels like, for months that we still need help, And it was like, silence on the other end of the phone.
Fox's Jackie Heinrichs in Asheville, North Carolina.
There has been consternation that FEMA's disaster response has been biased against Republicans. Recall, the agency had to fire an employee after someone on its hurricane relief team said not to visit Florida homes with Trump signs during Hurricane Milton.
After North Carolina, President Trump will go survey the Los Angeles wildfire disaster as a new uncontained fire now burns in San Diego. He's threatened to withhold federal aid, citing water mismanagement. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, plans to greet the president on arrival and counters.
It's very damaging when people believe such misinformation, and I don't mean it in a malign sense. Maybe the president just doesn't know.
President Trump also plans to address today's March for Life in Washington in a pre-recorded video as tens of thousands of anti-abortion activists gather this morning. The Trump White House says federal immigration raids nationwide have rounded up 538 criminal illegal immigrants. One of them was angry in Boston.
I'm not going back to Haiti. Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro.
Well, he's wrong. He's going back to Haiti. I tell him that.
That's Trump border czar Tom Homan, who also tells Fox.
You thought we had a secure border before? Watch what happens now.
Senate Republicans might vote tonight to confirm Pete Hegseth as defense secretary.
Even though 2 GOP members joined Democrats yesterday rejecting Hegseth in a procedural vote. Senators Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins voted no, skeptical about his qualifications for the job.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. America's listening to Fox News.
3 degrees above zero. That's 7:02 on a Friday on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Closing arguments continue in the Mike Madigan landmark corruption trial. Here's Jim Telemonte with the latest from the Dirksen Federal Center.
Diane MacArthur coined the phrase during closing arguments Thursday afternoon at the Dirksen Federal Building. MacArthur said former Chicago Alderman Daniel Solis connected Madigan with real estate developers. The former Speaker's attorneys are expected to begin closing Friday afternoon. Chicago attorney Sam Adams Jr. described Madigan's team as awesome.
As my dad used to tell me as a kid, there are no such things as great lawyers. There's only great facts and good lawyers to bring those facts out.
Former Assistant U.S. Attorney Patrick Collins said Madigan attorneys Dan Collins, Tom Breen, and Todd Pugh are experienced.
You have lawyers who have gone through the battles and, have rapport with the jury, and we'll see how all that plays out.
In Chicago, I'm Jim Talamonte.
The possibility of a Chicago teachers union strike is growing. CTU President Stacey Davis Gates accuses CPS CEO Pedro Martinez of dragging his feet. And CTU negotiators say CPS is crying poor.
The district actually wants the fact finder to only look at what's in the bank account right now, which is like deciding if you can pay rent based on what's in your pocketbook rather than in your next paycheck.
CTU last went on strike in 2019, and their negotiators say there's no reserve fund to dip into.
The CTU continues to push a false narrative, claiming that CPS has over $1 billion in our reserves. This is not true. If CPS had any significant level of reserves, we would not be borrowing over $1 billion at various points in the year just to make payroll.
Both CPS and CTU have agreed to independent fact-finding. A mediator is expected to present findings February 6. Chicago Teachers Union routinely rejects most fact-finding reports. Chicago sports. Bulls unravel in the second half of a loss to Golden State. 131-106. College hoops, Fighting Illini gets smashed by Maryland, 91-70 at home. Northwestern will actually go for a season sweep of the Fighting Illini when the two meet on Sunday. The news is a service of Surround Chicago, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Paul Jenkins, owner of Bancroft Architects and Engineers, a service-disabled veteran-owned small business providing design solutions for clients, including the VA. When looking for a trusted banking partner, Bancroft was lucky to find that partner in Signature Bank in 2015. With Signature, personal service goes beyond a login and a PIN number. My staff and I have the comfort of knowing that we're dealing with real people who know our business and care about us as individuals. Signature helped finance our new state-of-the-art facility, and Bancroft looks forward to further expanding business opportunities for disabled veterans and historically disadvantaged communities.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:08 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Let's get a rundown of your interior expressways. We'll start on the Kennedy outbound, where you're on the brakes central through Harlem Avenue this morning. Slowing up on the Stevenson 45 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. You're jammed up Ashland into the Ryan Merge. Ryan itself at 25 minutes and climbing from 95th into the Circle. Rollover accident, south suburbs, 394 northbound at Burville Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, times of clouds and sun, a cold day. High today only 21. Cloudy, breezy night tonight, low 19. Variable cloudiness and breezy, not as cold tomorrow, the high 37. Sunny and cold Sunday, the high at 28. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
3 at O'Hare, 4 at Midway, 7 below in Aurora, 4 below at DuPage Airport, and 7 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Fox News reporting that President Zelensky of Ukraine is ready and willing to make a deal to end the war with Russia.
That President Trump wants to meet immediately with Vladimir Putin, and that President Zelensky has told President Trump that he is ready to make a deal to end the war. So obviously a very big development on that front, and we'll play it out for you as soon as we get it.
And of course, Trump has suggested that he will impose sanctions on Putin and Russia if Putin doesn't come to the negotiating table. Probably something he should do even after Putin does come to the negotiating table and they agree to some sort of armistice. There's all sorts of reasons to impose tariffs on Putin for various bad acts having nothing to do directly with Ukraine. But the invasion of Ukraine is a good occasion to use tariffs as a cudgel as well. For more on the prospects for peace in Eastern Europe, please, and other regions like the Middle East, please be joined again by Cliff May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and foreign affairs columnist for the Washington Times. Cliff, how optimistic should we be about the potential for a cessation of hostilities in Eastern Europe?
Well, you can be hopeful, but I wouldn't be optimistic. The argument that's taking place right now is over how bad the pain is for Putin, how much he senses the pain being bad on two levels. One is the economy, and the other is, of course, he has lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers in this battle. Does he care about the soldiers? I don't think he really does, except for the fact that he thinks I need to get more, and it's not so easy for me to get more. And the economy, he does still have oil. Look, what he is doing is, it's very important to understand what he's doing, and a lot of people don't. And I say this as somebody, as you know, who for more than a half a century has been studying Russia. He wants to restore the Russian Empire. He does not feel threatened by NATO. He doesn't think Dutch forces are about to move in and they're going to come in through Ukraine. Now, is there a way he can accept less and maybe he feels he can build back better? Maybe. Keep in mind what he's doing in Ukraine, vital to restore the Russian Empire if he's going to do it, vital if he's going to be the czar. It's not all he's doing. Belarus is essentially a vassal state at this point. He has two provinces of Georgia, and he is manipulating the government there. Armenia is becoming something of a vassal state. He's threatening Moldova. He has ambitions. He has a mission at this point in his life. It is not impossible that he may say, I need a pause, I need a ceasefire, I need time to get more weapons, which he's getting, by the way, to a great extent from North Korea. He's also gotten bodies from North Korea. When I say bodies, I mean that literally because they come in as soldiers, but they end up as bodies. So again, maybe there's some way at least to have a ceasefire. Do not confuse ceasefire with peace. Maybe some way to get an armistice. I think that's a perfectly good word that you have used. I don't know that it necessarily leads to peace in that part of the world.
So should Trump then deploy sanctions if there's any recalcitrance from Putin?
Absolutely. What he absolutely needs to do is not go in thinking Putin wants peace, I want peace, Zelensky wants peace. Let us find a path to peace. I'm sure we can. No, that's stupid. What he has to say is, Putin, there's terrible pressure I will have to put on you if this doesn't come out the way I want it to. I'm going to do that economically. I'm going to do that because you have huge amounts of wealth in Europe. I'm going to convince the Europeans that wealth should simply be confiscated and turned over as reparations to the Ukrainians. I'm going to impose terrible pain on you. I would rather not. We can come out of this and the pain will be alleviated. But and here's all you're going to get. And then you can say, all right, Crimea, I'll tell Zelensky you got Crimea back. You need that for your Black Sea Fleet. I get that. Maybe some of Donetsk, but this is not going to be a vassal state. You're not taking it over. You're not having somebody who kisses your ring in the Kremlin every 3 weeks. That's not what's going to happen here. It stays an independent state because we gave it guarantees, and because in the world we live in, you are not allowed to cross the border with tanks and simply take over another country. And I'm sorry, you may think it's not, but Ukraine is another country because the Ukrainians think they're another country.
The report that Trump is reportedly moving to cut U.S. troop presence in Europe by 20%. That's pulling about 20,000 troops. This is sort of one step forward, one step back, one step forward again, because he pulled 12,000 troops out of Germany his first go around, and Biden later reversed that. So it's almost just sort of a resetting the table to his posture in term one. Any qualms with that?
Look, I don't think it's not something I would recommend if I were sitting there as his advisor. But I think part of what he's trying to do, and I don't blame him for this at all. He's right, is to say to the Europeans, you really have to contribute a lot more to the collective security than you have been, and that means, and he's mentioned this before, you need to get up to about 5% of GDP on defense, because we're going to have problems. Whatever ceasefire I get with the Russians, there are threats here. You have to stand up. We have global responsibilities, the U.S., so you, the Europeans, you're wealthy. You have to start taking more responsibilities yourself. I think fewer troops in Germany are a good idea. Look, the Poles have asked several times, how about moving those troops to Poland? We'll help you. What can we do to make that better? The Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, they'd all love to have U.S. troops there. Actually, my son, who was in the military, did a stint in Estonia for a while just after Russia invaded Ukraine. Unfortunately, it was mostly intense, but when he got to Riga, he said it was quite nice. So, look, it is very
Tallinn is beautiful. Tallinn, the old city in Tallinn in Estonia, is beautiful.
Tallinn, Riga, absolutely. Look, I think the U.S. wants to have allies and wants to have allies who contribute to the defense and who, in many cases, take on common enemies, which, in my view, the Ukrainians are doing as best as they possibly can. They are fighting. And they are deteriorating the Russian forces. It is good to have allies who are not dependent on you, but help you do what you need to do, and want to see America as the leader of the free world, and a strong leader at that.
What about the ceasefire for hostages agreement? I know 3 women were released, but when are we going to see the Americans be freed?
Well, we should have been the first round, it seems to me. That should have been part of the negotiations. Part of what should have happened, and by the way, it should have happened a year ago, is the U.S. should have said to the rulers of Qatar, Qatar, who Biden immediately made a major non-NATO ally, you now have a responsibility. You host, you fund, you help Hamas. You say you're important to us as a mediator. You got to be more than that. You've got to say to the Hamas leaders who live in Qatar, you get the Americans out. In fact, you get all the hostages out, or we will consider you accessories to this crime. And if you're accessories to this crime, you don't live at the Four Seasons Hotel, we have another place for you. And the Americans may want to put you on trial, and we will extradite you. You know why? Because we are a major non-NATO ally of the U.S. Now, there's all these people who are saying, oh, but the Qataris are so helpful. I don't see how they've been so helpful. And this deal is not a great deal. Most Israelis, based on the polls and other information I have, think it's a terrible deal, but necessary because they want their people out. Within the Jewish nation, the idea of let my people go is fairly old. Redeeming captives is fairly old.
But I mean,
said to Pharaoh.
Yeah, but I mean, the let's be specific. The Qatar was very helpful. That's what Steve Witkoff, Trump's envoy to the Middle East, has said.
With all due respect, I think I think that's overstated, but I know he thinks that. I know a lot of people.
Well, he said I know but I mean he said that explicitly. I'm quoting him verbatim. Qatar was enormously helpful in this, and now the reporting is that he may be the point person to enter into discussions with the Iranians about their nuclear program. And my question then is Witkoff and by extension the Trump administration being led down a primrose path here? Witkoff also said that it would be, it would be great to engage with Hamas for future negotiations on all matters. I mean, are the Iranians and other Islamist terrorist groups like Hamas good faith partners when it comes to negotiations?
My answer is no. My answer is I'm concerned about this. If in fact, and I'm not sure it's true that he will have that role, but I am sort of concerned that he doesn't know the history and the current status of the Middle East well enough, and that some of these remarks don't make a lot of sense, such as, let's sit down with Hamas. Look, even, Alan Dershowitz said something I thought that was very apt. It's in my column in the Washington Times this week. He said, look, we talk about this as a deal. If somebody steals your daughter, kidnaps your daughter, and then says, hey, give me $1 million and maybe I'll let her come home. Maybe I'll let her come home alive. You never know. We don't say, oh, that sounds like a good deal. We say that's a crime followed by another crime. The kidnapping is a crime. The extortion is a crime. So let's be careful when we say, oh, this is a deal. And isn't it wonderful? Aren't those who helped us get this deal wonderful people? Because it doesn't really make sense.
Your colleague, Rich Goldberg, a friend of the show, mentioned on the matter of the Iranian nuclear weapons program. He made the distinction, which is an important one, the difference between the time needed to produce weapons-grade uranium and the time needed to weaponize said weapons-grade uranium. And so the reporting is focused, is all this, they're a weekend away from the culmination of their nuclear enrichment program. But that's the production side. That's not the weaponization side. So we have more time than some people may understand.
Yeah, and Rich is right, as he always is. The only thing is that needs to be added, it's very hard for us to know how the weaponization is going because it takes place in secret in very small quarters. So unless you have very good intelligence, I don't think the U.S. does. Maybe Israel does. You never know. It's hard to know how that's advancing and at what point it is completed. So it is a danger. It does give you some more. But I think there's really a window of opportunity now because the air defenses of Iran were kind of knocked out, not 100%, but close to it, when Israel retaliated for the drone and missile strike that Iran launched against them, which was the biggest drone and missile strike, I think, ever in history. But thanks to Israeli technology and American technology working together, very few of those missiles landed on their intended victims.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to say this publicly, and you don't have to be particularly bellicose. But I mean, if I was dispatching Witkoff, let's say, to Iran, I mean, my message to him would be remind them that we haven't forgotten what we did to Soleimani. We know they haven't. Well, we haven't either. And so you better tread lightly.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's exactly right. And this, in a way, what applies to Putin applies here too. To use the old cliche, you're gonna do better with sticks than with carrots. They're not looking necessarily for they're not looking for peace. They're not necessarily looking for a better economy so that everybody has a 401k and the best darn healthcare plan in the Middle East. That's not what they want. Wow. Whether it's Khamenei or whether it's Putin or I'm afraid Xi Jinping, they want to build their empires. It's not to address grievances, it's build empires. Genghis Khan did not conquer most of Europe and Asia because he wanted to address legitimate grievances.
Yeah, wasn't worried about unequal wealth distribution.
No, I don't think so.
Cliff May, president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, foreign affairs columnist for the Washington Times. Thanks, Cliff.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Is your child getting the personalized attention they need to excel in math? Mathnasium has a solution for students of all skill levels. Each child's strengths and weaknesses, creating a customized learning plan. If you have kids in school, you're probably starting to see how they're doing in math. Could it be better? Consider an individual assessment with Mathnasium. They'll pinpoint what your child needs to excel, then give them live, face-to-face instruction, either in-center or online, so they can catch up and get ahead. At Mathnasium, math is taught in a way that makes sense to students, so they understand it, master it, and enjoy it. Over 1 million parents have already trusted Mathnasium to give their children an edge in math. The Mathnasium method gives them the critical thinking skills they need to thrive, with the option to attend face-to-face online sessions or come to one of our 1,000 neighborhood learning centers. Mathnasium is changing lives through math. Learn more at mathnasium.com. That's mathnasium.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time it's the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
It's a new year, but the need continues. Hi, Amy Jacobson here to let you know that you could still be part of our annual Food for the Poor campaign. We are working to provide food for a year and access to water to children in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we need you to help us reach our goal. We are so close, especially if you own or run a business or make the marketing decisions for a business. You can still become a business benefactor by making a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. That gift will feed 50 children for all of 2025. And to show our appreciation for your generosity, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on the station between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this amazing deal, just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, 847-472-8951 or go to 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I bet you never thought you could get paid not to work and be in line for a guaranteed 7-figure net present value pension, too, did you? Did you ever think you could do that?
No, I did not.
Well, think again. Because the state of Illinois is hiring.
From your career.
Me? I want 3 weeks paid time off.
4 weeks. 5 weeks.
The very first year on the job.
I want a sense of fulfillment. I want to help people. I don't want a 50-hour work week.
Or 40. How about 37.25? I want to help the elderly. Help the sick. Have great coverage when I'm sick.
I want flexible hours. Work hybrid. I want work-life balance.
Hey, it sounds like you want to work for the state.
Really?
Really. Really great careers, really great benefits. Visit work.illinois.gov.
Show up if you want to.
Oh, my God.
Work.illinois.gov. Oh, boy, I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah. Your little side
state of
hustle
Illinois. The state of Illinois is hiring. We just want to put that on notice. I don't know if they'll have room for American citizens with all of the hiring that they want to do, consistent with welcoming our Biden buddies from the world over. But hey, sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
The state cannot get any worse. Oh, then it can. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, DEI is more deeply embedded than you think. Bias reporting regimes in states around the country, including Oregon, will give you an example of what we mean from the Pacific Northwest at 7:37.
But first, let's stop by that newsroom once again. Here's Mike Scott.
Sunshine and 7:31. Federal judge is putting a temporary hold on President Trump's executive order that would end automatic birthright citizenship for infants born in the U.S. At least 5 separate lawsuits have been filed. The president makes his first trip of his second term today, visiting disaster areas in North Carolina and California, where Altadena resident Kevin Williams, whose home was damaged in fires, shares his opinion about federal funding.
And that's a start. I don't know how far that's going to go, but that's a start.
Trump threatened to withhold some federal aid to California if water policies are not changed. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is ordering a halt to all passport applications from people requesting an X marker for their legal sex or for those changing their marker from a previous passport. Meantime, the Secretary of State is now heading to Panama, and CIA Director-designate John Ratcliffe becomes the second nominee for the president's cabinet, who is installed, joining Marco Rubio. One of the original copies of the Declaration of Independence hits the auction block today at Sotheby's in New York. It's a copy from July of 1776. Was made in New Hampshire, helping spread the document to the public. It's called the 1776 Exeter Broadside. It's one of only 10 known copies to be in existence, most of which are in collections. The Declaration is expected to fetch more than $4 million. The possibility of a Chicago Teachers Union strike is growing. CTU last went on strike in 2019 for 15 days. A federal mediator is expected to present findings on February 6. The true identity of a man charged in an Urbana hit and run that killed 2 North suburban women has been uncovered. Police saying amended charges were filed in Champaign County for the suspect after authorities learned that Juan Saenz Suarez was an alias. He has been identified as Julio Bol, a 29-year-old citizen of Guatemala. Bol was arrested by ICE agents Wednesday in Texas while fleeing the country, riding a bus to Mexico. Chicago sports. Bulls unraveled in the second half of a loss to Golden State, 131-106. Fighting Illini hammered at home by Maryland, 91-70. They take on Northwestern on Sunday. The news, a service of quick delivery service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery of your routes. Ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk can see something different about Trump.
One word would describe President Donald Trump. One word. Ready. This man is ready. He has a stoicism to him that we have not seen in his 8 years of the presidency. He has a centeredness to him, a purpose, a clarity of thought, a complete command of the room.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
It is 7:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of the Kane County Home Show. Kennedy inbound, 35 minutes. O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange. The Ike right now, 45 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, a stall right center lane block. It's in the Express inbound between 47th and 31st. 394 northbound shut down now between Burrville Road and Exchange, all due to a rollover accident. Improving your home can be easy. Find all your home improvement needs with one easy visit to the Home Show this weekend at the Kane County Fairgrounds in St. Charles. Free admission, free parking, KaneCountyHomeshow.com today, KaneCountyHomeshow.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cold with times of clouds and sun, a high of 21. Clear and 2 above right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, Sundays noon to 1. Learn more online at mwmfinancial.tax.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So Trump has moved on the cultural Marxists with his executive order to eliminate DEI within the federal government agencies. And now you have acting directors that are sending out missives saying, hey, we know people are trying to disguise DEI is not DEI. So here's an email if you know of someone that is trying to run this gambit. And as Trump's cabinet comes into formation, as more secretaries are confirmed, there'll be more work on this. We talked yesterday about one of the enforcement mechanisms, the new point person at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So this is going to take some time, but it's not just at the federal level where we have to talk about the censorship industrial complex, the totalitarianism of the cultural Marxists. It's at the state and local level, too.
But real quick, before we move to the state and local level, the ATF DEI director, didn't they change their name to Chief Operations Officer?
Yeah, we meant the senior director, something we mentioned that the other day, right? Mm-hmm. So that person, that individual got tagged, and that's what they want to do more of. At the state level, bias incident reporting systems, which is something that metastasized from college campuses into state and local governments. Anonymous hotlines where people can call in to report an offensive joke, to report some expression of a neighbor that they found offensive in some way. This is East German Stasi type business. And by the way, it's not just reporting. Those reports go into state databases. Those reports, in some cases, entitle the reportee to compensation. Illinois has one. Did you know that?
Not
Help
surprised.
Stop Hate established a statewide hate crime and bias incident helpline called Help Stop Hate that allows victims and witnesses to anonymously report hate crimes. I put that in scare quotes because that's the whole predicate of this. So we're stopping hate, right? Nothing like totalitarian governments in the business of eradicating hate. That's how you do it. Oh, sure. You can anonymously report hate crimes, bias, and harassment through an online portal and hotline. I'll give you an example of what form that takes. This comes to us from the state of Oregon. And the Washington Free Beacon, reporter from the Washington Free Beacon, called the hotline. Talked to one of those stationed at the hotline, ready to take down any alleged incidents of bias. So this is, I'm sure, very similar to calling into the Illinois Help Stop Hate hotline. Take a listen.
I'm having a bit of a dispute with my neighbor. I just moved, and I was talking to my neighbor. I said I was Muslim. I said I thought that what was going on in Gaza was a genocide. And then the next day, my neighbor puts up a huge Israeli flag, on his front door, and it felt very targeted.
If you feel like there is an expression of animus against your religious beliefs, then that's a bias incident. And I want to center your perspective. And if you feel like this was a biased incident, that the flag is an expression of animosity against your faith or your country of origin, then we honor that, and I want to acknowledge that. So that would be a biased incident. Even if it is not very explicit, we go with whatever the victim is experiencing. And if your sense is that this is based on a discrimination against your faith or your country of origin, then we'll take that. That's how I would document it. So as it stands, it's a warning sign. I was wondering if you have security cameras, if the situation does escalate. If you take this person to court for a civil protective order, for a restraining order, oftentimes the restraining order fails because if it is your word against their word, it's hard for the judge to be able to go one way or the other.
Okay.
And but if you do have like a recording or video cameras that are kind of like providing evidence of the interaction, it just adds to your case. You could record conversations. I mean, if you think that you need to do that, you could organize a single party consent to the court. So you could record conversations.
You said you would log this as a bias incident?
That's how you are reporting it.
Yeah.
So I would honor your perspective.
Okay.
So
That'll like go into the state's like database or whatever it is of this, so that there's like a record that this happened.
Right, and it would go in the state database.
This is the other thing I want to ask you, just if there were any other resources you could direct me to, because honestly, it can be kind of isolating. There's all this Zionist propaganda out there, and I just it really upset me, and I wasn't really sure exactly where else to turn.
As a victim of a bias incident, you qualify for mental health support. So if your insurance does not cover the mental health support, you'd be able to get coverage and funding through the Department of Justice.
How would I go about that?
You just got to click on applying for crime victims compensation, CVC.
Okay.
And it'll take you to a portal. You just have to create an account, an email, and a password. And then once you do that, you can choose file an application for crime victims compensation. It'll ask you what crime were you the victim of, and what you have to select is hate/bias incident. It's a drop-down menu under type of crime.
Okay.
And you just go like hate bias incident.
And so even though it's not technically a crime, that's okay?
That's one of the laws that changed recently. If you are the victim of a bias incident, even if it's not a crime, you qualify for mental health services.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. This is such an interesting cultural commentary because you listen to the lingo on both sides. The reporter who called in, very good. I feel targeted. It's very isolating to be exposed to, ideas or symbols with which I disagree. And then the hotline operator using language like, we're going to honor your perspective. We want to center your perspective. This is all the Orwellian language of the cultural Marxist. Victims' compensation fund for a one-sided report of an alleged bias incident because, in this hypothetical, because that's what this was, unbeknownst to the operator.
Right.
Because, you saw an Israeli flag and you're Muslim and you don't like the Israeli flag or whatever. I mean, that's the extent of it. And remember when we talked years ago about these bias incident reporting regimes on college campuses, one of the things that was so noxious about them is they were totally violative of due process norms in this country, where on the college campus, it was the presumption essentially of guilt, not the presumption of innocence.
Right.
And this is exactly what you have with these state hotlines. This is your taxpayer dollars for these hotlines, for those Marxists that are serving as operators, in addition to victims' comp funds. As you heard, the state of Oregon recently changed the law so that you're entitled to access resources from the Victims' Compensation Fund, even though your crime victims' compensation fund, even though you're, he concedes, not the victim of a actual crime.
And Connecticut has a bias reporting system. In Vermont, they tell residents to report bias but protected speech directly to the police. And in Philadelphia, they have an online form that asks for the exact address of the hate incident as well as the name and gender identity of the offender.
So you can, cheerlead what's going on at the federal level, as we should, but you may want to look around at the state and local level, as we have to remind often. because if it's already taken hold at the federal level, then you can be sure it was incubated through our cultural institutions, through our local and state authorities, particularly in states that have failed, like Oregon,
right,
like Illinois,
Connecticut. I mean, the Trump administration, should be on top of their list to get rid of this.
No, because it's not a federal issue.
Well, it's a state issue. Yeah, you're right.
It's a local issue. It's a issue on college campuses still, to be sure. Again, you have the cultural Marxists, and this is the point that Aaron Sabarian makes, who's a reporter for the Washington Free Beacon, which did this undercover expose. You give them the run of the place for a few generations, and then one executive order is going to magically make it all go away? Hardly. He writes to Sabarium in the piece, we keep hearing that wokeness is dead, killed by Trump's executive orders on affirmative action and DEI, but the structure of social control that peak woke bequeathed hasn't necessarily gone away. Thanks to the revolution of 2019 and 2020, which really was a slow rolling revolution that started a century ago and sped up a half century ago and then was at breakneck pace in the last decade. But anyway, his point, thanks to the revolution of 2019, 2020, we now live in a world where you can be reported to the government for telling an offensive joke. I mean, again, the point there, in addition to what the quote-unquote victim is entitled to at taxpayer expense, the idea that victim's complaint will be taken unchallenged and included in a state database. So in this hypothetical, the neighbor who put an Israeli flag on his door would be in the state bias incident database in the state of Oregon or the state of Illinois. This is governance. This is what governance looked like under cultural Marxists in the Pacific Northwest and in the Midwest, just the same. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auctions. Here's a fact. Extra cash is a really good thing right now. Here's another fact. There has never been a better market for antique items than right now. Donley Auctions wants everything you have when it comes to antique collections. Their worldwide audience is waiting to give you top dollar for them. Call them at 815-923-7000. If you have a weapon of any kind, any military items, they are in desperate need of military items and guns, as they are a state and federal licensed arms dealer. So you don't have to worry about any of the nonsense they can go with other auction sites. Give them a call, 815-923-7000, or go to DonleyAuctions.com. If you have classic cars, old signs, coin-operated machines, the list is crazy long of the items they want to help you sell. If somebody has passed away and you have estate items, antiques, they are in desperate need. Just call 815-923-7000. They're waiting for your call now.
Text from 847-2 on this bias reporting system. It's part of ethics training in Illinois government that if you overhear a conversation that makes you uncomfortable, you can and should report it. Exactly. Snitch culture. East Sherman style. Guys, new year, time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Don't put it off. Get tested in January. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test, and with our on-site lab, you get your results back right there. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient. Their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. These aren't just basic standard treatments. And for current patients, Low T Center offers you a $150 referral credit for each new patient you refer. At Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So, get back to your best. Visit lowtcenter.com to do that by booking your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
For over 100 years, St. Andrew's Lutheran School in the heart of Park Ridge has been dedicated to education excellence, spiritual growth, and service to the community. Parents continue to express their gratitude to the school for all it has to offer their children.
My second child just graduated from St. Andrew's Lutheran School in Park Ridge. Not only did both place into advanced classes in high school, but St. Andrew's teachers have enabled me to achieve my most important goal as a parent, to be confident that they know their Savior and that they'll be with me in heaven someday.
From kindergarten through 8th grade, your child will learn in a Christ-centered, individualized, nurturing environment. Take a tour, visit with faculty, and register for the upcoming school year on Sunday, January 26th from noon to 2. For details, visit St. Andrew's Lutheran School in Park Ridge online at standrewspr.org. Provide your child with the gift of a Christ-centered St. Andrews education. Find out more today at standrewspr.org.
For over 23 years, Applied Mechanical Sales has offered boilers, water heaters, and exhaust venting to commercial mechanical contractors. They aid in the selection of standard and high-efficiency hydronic system equipment for replacement or new construction. From schools to churches to high-rises and hotels, Applied Mechanical provides high-quality, cost-effective Camus boilers and water heaters in many of Chicago's most iconic buildings. Mechanical design firms trust Applied Mechanical to support them by specifying the size and type of boilers to best match a building's load profile for the worst of Chicago weather conditions. Engineers and contractors can be confident that they'll experience trouble-free operation for the next 15 to 20 years. Applied Mechanical Sales ensures their boilers are properly installed and operate at peak efficiency long after the initial startup. Go to appliedmechanicalsales.com to schedule a site visit and boiler replacement assessment. That's appliedmechanicalsales.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business, and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
I thought Triumph, the insult comedy dog, had retired with Conan O'Brien, but not the case. Triumph was in service as a Daily Show correspondent this week at the People's March, which was a protest to Trump's inauguration.
Oh, right. Wasn't that sponsored by Al Sharpton's group or whatever?
Don't care.
Yeah.
Here in Washington, D.C., at the People's March, we are here with everyone in America who thinks Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski still have good on-screen chemistry. If you could just say your name and all your genders from the camera, please.
Oh, wow. I lost count. I'm sorry.
Let's face it, no one here is going to smash any windows at the Capitol. That would require upper body strength. You know?
For me to poop on.
He also ran into a couple of guys wearing classic pea hats from
Really?
from 2016.
School.
Yeah,
I love it.
it was fun, and he helped them switch them out.
Some people are saying that you're all ineffective. You're too weak and unequipped for a crisis. I'm talking to your deodorants right now, actually. Sure. Yeah. People aren't going to take you seriously wearing hats from 2016. Okay? We got to armor up. Show them we don't want to be screwed with right now.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay, it's time for the pube hat. Put that on.
Oh, boy, all right.
This is what democracy looks like.
Are the pubes organic?
Of course they're organic. And they're farm-raised.
Farm-raised, organic?
Farm-raised, yes. We run a no-kill pube farm.
Are there genetically modified organisms in the...
Just put the f***ing hat on. Now, see, this is for the more discerning. That's the landing strip pube hat.
I will tweet it out because this is classic. Oh.
Yeah, he's also had this commentary just on the general attendance.
8 years ago, in fairness, there were like millions of people here. Do you think the numbers of women participating in this march have dropped off because they don't see themselves represented by the Democrats, or because you kept talking to them about Deadpool? Seriously, looking around here, I've never seen so many people worried about losing the right to contraceptives for purely hypothetical reasons.
That was good. That was pretty funny. Very enjoyable.
That was great. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, we'll talk to our friend Pastor Corey Brooks about DEI, affirmative action, what's going on with his projects on the South Side to aid and assist. All of that at 8:08.
I'm laughing because I'm watching him march with the people as well. Oh, this is classic. All right, we're going to retweet it out now. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Possible CTU strike is growing. The University of Illinois board approves a tuition increase. And a child is safe after going missing with its mother in Grundy County. Bulls get beaten by the Warriors and the Fighting Illini lose. WIND Chicago News Time.
They'll soon take a trip to disaster areas. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump will survey the wildfire damage in Los Angeles after his first stop this morning, flood-ravaged areas of North Carolina.
It feels like we're finally being heard for the first time in 4 months.
Matt Van Swal tells Fox he and other flood victims are frustrated with the slow federal response. Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports from Asheville.
This community is still recovering from Hurricane Helene, which hit in late September. The Japanese restaurant behind me is in ruins. There are still, there's rubble all over the parking lot. And also, early this month, about 3,000 people were reportedly told that their hotel vouchers were expiring. They had only days' notice, nowhere to go. Congressman Chuck Edwards, he's a Republican who represents this district, had to lobby that agency to give people at least 21 days' notice. And he says that they agreed, but he's also called for an agency overhaul.
So is President Trump, who's also threatened to withhold federal aid for LA's wildfire disaster, citing California water mismanagement, which Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, calls misinformation. Now, Newsom plans to greet the president's arrival, though they haven't talked and set that up.
I hope he comes with a spirit of cooperation and collaboration. That's the spirit to which we welcome him. I've said this many times, open hand, not a closed fist.
A new uncontained wildfire burning in the San Diego area. It's 1,000 acres, prompting evacuations there. A third Trump nominee might be considered tonight, a more controversial one than Secretary of State Marco Rubio and CIA Director John Ratcliffe. It's Pete Hegseth, who's up for defense secretary. It would take 4 Republicans to join Democrats to block Hegseth. So far, it appears there are only 2.
Maine Senator Susan Collins and Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski. Collins cites lack of experience, while Murkowski is saying that it's both lack of experience and those past allegations that made her decide not to support Pete Hegseth.
Fox's Aisha Hasni, the sexual misconduct and alcohol abuse allegations Hegseth denies. America's listening to Fox News.
1 degree above. It's 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. The possibility of a CTU strike is growing. Chicago Public Schools CEO Pedro Martinez has been accused by Stacey Davis Gates of deliberately stalling, and negotiators say CPS is crying poor.
The district actually wants the fact finder to only look at what's in the bank account right now, which is like deciding if you can pay rent based on what's in your pocketbook rather than in your next paycheck.
Federal immigration agents conducted the first large-scale arrest operation under the Trump administration. Those arrested, including some here in Illinois, had criminal histories, including sexual assault and drug and weapons charges. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker admits he has no specific federal plans in hand.
I mean, we should stand up for them. That is the right thing to do. But he's trying to tear things down.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says his city ordinance and state law may help protect some from federal overreach.
We have given very clear instructions to our sister agencies in all of our city departments that they should and will and are expected to uphold our welcoming city ordinance.
A Republican state senator says migrant sanctuary policies enacted by Illinois Democrats are putting people's lives at risk. State Senator Chapin Rose.
Not just the dollars of the taxpayer nonsense they've caused. That's bad enough. You're really putting people's lives in jeopardy.
And Tinley Park's long vacant state and county mental health center is finally coming down, marking the start of a major redevelopment effort. On Thursdays, workers demolished the fourth of 47 structures on the 280-acre site. Bulls lost to Golden State 131-106, and the Fighting Illini fall apart in a loss at home to Maryland 91-70. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
American Express cardholders are still traveling, spending money, and paying their bills. Amex earnings and revenue top forecasts on record levels of card member spending. It added a record 13 million new cardholders. The credit card company is increasing the dividend it pays shareholders. Verizon raised prices and still signed up 1 million new subscribers across mobile and broadband. Its earnings topped expectations. Higher prices for plans helped it to make more money than a year ago. It's the first full quarter that Apple was selling the iPhone 16. Investors appear to be shrugging off uncertainty from the first week of the Trump administration. The CBOE Volatility Index is indicating low uncertainty. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
Not sure if you've heard, but President Trump says Newsmax is really terrific. He also says Americans are tuning into Newsmax because it's really good. Are you one? Newsmax is now on all major cable networks, and Newsmax 2, our streaming channel, is on all big OTT platforms like Roku, Samsung, Amazon, and more. But you really need to get Newsmax Plus. It's our streaming service with all of the top Newsmax shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Greg Kelly, Chris Alcedo, and others. You'll get great analysis from Dick Morris, Carrie Lake, Alan Dershowitz, Mike Huckabee, and more. Newsmax Plus covers all the major Trump rallies and news events, even the ones Fox News won't. Check out Newsmax Plus now and start your free trial today. It costs nothing to start. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com to register. Then download the app and start watching. Millions are watching Newsmax. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time it's the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com. Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
It's 8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Carroll Stream. Gary and North Avenue, report of an accident. Oakbrook Terrace, Route 83 in Butterfield. Very busy intersection. Bad accident there, being swept out of your way. Roosevelt and County Farm in Wheaton, report of an accident. Route 53, stop and go. You're slammed solid southbound between Beesterfield and 390. Jane Addams, eastbounders. You're on the brakes at Meacham. Tri-State, you're slowing up northbound right at Roosevelt Road. 394 remains shut down in Will County. Northbound between Burrville and Exchange in the south suburbs due to a rollover accident there. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Here's Steve Williams.
A cold day today, times of clouds and sun. Our high today 21. Cloudy, breezy night tonight, low 19. Variable cloudiness and breezy, not as cold tomorrow, high 37. Sunny and cold on Sunday, the high 28. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Now 2 above at O'Hare, 4 above at Midway, still -5 in Aurora. And your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Rui Teixeira, writing over at the Liberal Patriot. This is an academic and a man of the left, but not the identitarian left. Writing about the hills that the left is dying on, and happy to do so. Number 1, immigration, border security, deportation. Outside of the economy, no issue hurt Democrats more in 2024 than immigration. And the laxness on border security and quasi-open borders policy that resulted in massive waves of illegal immigration was very much a priority and a product of the left. You'd think they'd be rushing to correct that mistake. Nah. And he takes up the Laken Riley Act as an example. And the hue and cry from the left over the small fraction of Democrats in the Senate and the House that voted in support of the Laken Riley Act that heads to President Trump's desk, which would simply require people in this country legally accused of crimes to be detained, not released. The hue and cry. And Teixeira goes on to say, and that's just the Laken Riley Act, exclamation point. That act is merely the opener for a variety of Trump administration moves to drastically tighten up border security and deport many of the illegal immigrants who are currently here, focusing initially on those with criminal records. The left will oppose all these moves with appropriately inflammatory rhetoric, despite their general popularity. Indeed, deporting those illegals with criminal records is stunningly popular. New York Times poll finds 87% overall support for deporting such illegal immigrants, including overwhelming support among surprising groups like Democrats, 83%, and Hispanics, 85%. The 13 to 15% that opposes it, they're all members of Congress or state legislatures. And he goes on to just talk very commonsensically about the illegal immigration problem, and there's no way to address it without changing the incentive structure for prospective immigrants. Well, Rui Teixeira might as well have been talking specifically about Jelly Belly and Brandon Johnson, because that's exactly what you got yesterday in response to a question about the state's sanctuary state posture.
But he's trying to tear things down. I'm talking about Donald Trump and his administration, Tom Homan, people at the Department of Homeland Security. They're the ones that are threatening people, again, who are law-abiding, who are often the anchors of their communities, who are paying taxes in this country. They're the ones who are threatening people. We're just standing up for people who live in our state and in our city.
That's the approach. They believe they can just continue to villainize Trump and MAGA world and convince people that they are somehow the protectors, despite all the evidence around them in places like Chicago and less generally Illinois. It's more specifically Chicago and Chicagoland where this routine that you saw Jelly Belly perform yesterday continues to work for some reason. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Pastor Corey Brooks. Of course, Corey is the senior pastor of New Beginnings Church in Chicago. He's also the founder and CEO of Project Hood. Corey, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So what do you think about what
now with these?
What do you think about what Pritzker had to say yesterday? The same posture that he and Brandon Johnson have had since for the entirety of their time in office, but the reaction that it's drawing where you live and work.
Well, I think for the most part, most of the Chicago people, like myself, we want immigration to come in. We want ICE to come in and deal with this immigration issue. Unlike our mayor, unlike our governor, we're opposed to them trying to stand against it. We really want those who have committed these crimes, illegal immigrants who are committing crimes, we really want them to be exited out of the city. And we rather be sooner than later.
Do you think it would matter, or let me maybe take a step back. Is there an appreciation that the position that Pritzker and Johnson have is basically there should be no distinction between American citizens and people here illegally when it comes to benefits or opportunities? There should be no distinction. Do you think people appreciate that that's their actual view?
Absolutely not. Most people agree with the president. That's why we elected him in the first place. Most people understand that for far too long we've been putting America second, and we've been allowing everyone else to take first place. We've been taking resources from citizens and using them on illegal immigrants, and that's not the way that it should be. Especially here in Chicago, we're seeing it every single day where funds that could have been used for other things to make the city a much better city have been used on illegal immigrants, and that's not the way that it should be, and that's not the way that most of us would like for it to be.
But so is there? But my question is there an education piece that needs to be done that people may disagree? They see some of the policy stuff, you may get some disagreement, but they don't really have understand or have not fully internalized that is their position. Like, start from the premise, because then everything makes sense once you understand what their actual position is, which is if you're an American citizen in Chicago or you're a citizen of another country who's here illegally, you're going to be entitled to the same things. If people understood that was in fact the position of these politicians, would that maybe change outcomes?
Absolutely. If people understood that was their position, they would definitely be even more upset. I think the fact that we do need to have a better messaging and helping people to understand what's really going on, the dynamics that are really being set forth, because if they really understood, they would oppose the mayor's opinions and the governor's opinions more.
Well, how many shelters are still open around your church and your facility?
I know there's a shelter still open in our neighborhood, that there are still individuals who are still staying there. I'm not for sure on how it is across the city, but there are definitely still places that are still open. There are definitely places that are still being funded every single day, and there are still funds being used on illegal immigrants that need to be used for the citizens of Chicago.
You wrote a piece for Fox News about identity politics on the occasion of the inauguration, on the occasion of Martin Luther King Remembrance Day. And we talked a bit about this the other day, too, because our mutual friend Eli Steele wrote a really good piece about sort of the history of affirmative action from the civil rights era to present. Your commentary on identitarian politics and whether or not this pushback now that has been formalized, at least at the federal level, against DEI will gain some traction at the local level.
I believe it will gain traction as it starts to move more across the country, and as more companies fall in line and get rid of DEI programs. I think the momentum for it will pick up. But of course, you still are going to have far left, liberal thinking, progressive people. We're going to continue to promote identity politics, going to continue to promote being woke, going to continue to promote DEI, all of these things that they want us to believe that are making us a better country when they're not. But so we have to continue to make sure that we write about it, that we talk about it, thankfully shows like yours are bringing it before the citizens, and that helps. But we got to continue the messaging so that people understand what it is about and why it hurts. You know, a lot of times people don't understand that DEI is not a benefit to us, and they don't understand why. So we have to help them to understand.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask you that, like how many, in the church and the community center, with all the classes and the programs that you run, how many times the word diversity comes up and the push for DEI, because we see in the legacy media all this talk about DEI departments are going to close and stuff like this, and this is going to be very hurtful to minorities and so forth. And one point of fact, it's I would argue that the whole philosophy is what's been very harmful to minorities. So other than the people that get these make work jobs, people outside of that circle are not being benefited. In fact, they're being hurt in terms of economic opportunities. But I just wonder if that there's a real disconnect between what I'm saying and what people think who are the intended beneficiaries.
Absolutely. There's a real disconnect because promoting victimization in our community has been going on for so long, since the 60s, late 60s. And that promotion of victimization going on for so long is ingrained into the thoughts and belief system of most people in our neighborhood. So when you start talking about DEI and you start talking about diversity, they're looking from it. Most of the time they're looking at it from a victimization point of view. And so to remove those things from them is almost to make them feel as if you're hurting them or harming them. So you have to reprogram, you have to re-educate, and you have to show people that the facts, most of all, how DEI is not even benefiting most black people the way that they would think that it would. But you have to show people the facts, and you have to continue to educate.
So how do you do it where you are? I mean, you have a trust relationship with the folks you serve in a way that, for example, I don't. So that's part of it, is to have a trust relationship. But what is it in the discussions you have where you see light bulbs go on?
Well, when you show people, we had to discuss this very discussion yesterday, and one of the things I try to get people to understand is, first of all, you got to get out of your emotions and start looking at the facts. We're so emotional about issue and make these issues so charged up that we just jump over the facts. But when you start pulling it back and you show people the facts, they start to realize, okay, this is not a benefit the way that I thought it was. And when they start to understand that and they realize that it's just all a bag of goods being sold to us in our community to continue to make us victims, they see a light bulb comes on, and I've seen it so many times. But we have to get to that point to where we can have some honest dialogue and discussion. That's oftentimes difficult to do.
Well, Trump massively improved his performance with the black community in 2024, but what do you hope to see from the Trump administration?
Well, I would hope to see that he would continue to do some of the things that he's doing, putting American citizens first. I think that's important. Continue to get rid of illegal immigrants who are criminals. Chicago, we need safety, and we cannot afford to have illegal immigrants who are committing serious crimes here in our city. That's adding to the problem. So I would like to see that. I'm looking forward to him rolling back the issues of education and sending it back to the states as well. And, anything that we can do to make the economy the best economy, that's always a help to everyone.
Pastor Corey Brooks, Senior Pastor of New Beginnings Church in Chicago, founder and CEO of Project Hood as well. Pastor Brooks, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and God bless. I appreciate it.
God bless you, and thank you so much. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Joe Biden's political adversaries have long referred to the Biden crime family, and the former president has now engraved that title into the history books. Just 15 minutes before his term in office ended, he issued sweeping preemptive pardons to his brothers and sister-in-law and to his sister and brother-in-law. These bookend the pardon he previously provided to his son, Hunter. Remarkably, the pardons excuse all conduct from 2014 to the present. That covers the time that investigators allege the family collected tens of millions by selling Joe Biden's influence in China, Russia, Ukraine, Romania, and Kazakhstan. Biden wants people to believe Donald Trump was going to pursue his family the way his Justice Department went after Trump. Instead, his conduct simply validates the existing evidence of his family's corrupt dealings. Joe Biden's final act is a gross abuse of power and a fitting end to a failed presidency.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time it's the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560. The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
Yes, it's that time of the week, Open Mic Friday, taking your calls. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line with compliments, concerns, criticisms, general crack pottery. We will take it all, but we begin, as we do, with turnkey.pro founder David Kolsak. David?
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, I have to say, watching the inauguration on Monday was really interesting. It felt more like a coronation than an inauguration. There was much to look at. To begin with, I don't think there was a speech given with more promises to the American people. It was very bold, and Trump didn't hold back. He gave them both barrels, and you could read the faces of the people in the audience. You had Obama whispering to George Bush what looked to be, is there any way we can stop this? To Barron Trump whispering to Biden's ear, what looked to be, hey, you forgot to pardon yourself. And then you had the character out of the board game Clue and Ivanka with the hat looking like Mrs. Peacock. And then there was Melania's hat that was reminiscent of Spy versus Spy or V for Vendetta or the Hamburglar for that matter, right? And she looked like she was dressed for a funeral. Classy and edgy, but certainly looking resolved. And then you had your gaggle of techno overlords in Musk and Zuckerberg and Bezos. And Bezos brought his perky new wife and her ample bosom to the celebration dressed as a call girl. You can't fault Zuckerberg for getting caught looking down her blouse. Trump may have to issue another pardon there, but it was such a good show for the whole day. I mean, he turned a signing ceremony into a rally. That was genius. And then he went to 3 separate balls. The energy that guy displayed was unbelievable, and it's nice to have a president again. That was quite a spectacle, and the actions he's taken in just a few days are unprecedented. He had 4 years to think about these first days, and it's a huge departure from where he was when he took office, in early 2017. And the left is apoplectic over all these actions, and for good reason. Trump didn't just beat them politically, he beat them morally, which is a lot harder to swallow. So they took it too far, now they have to reap what they've sown. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to mention, as I've talked about, we have to question everything. So I wanted to bring to your attention the $500 billion investment that Trump announced with Masa Son, Sam Altman, and Larry Ellison called Project Stargate. If you've been paying attention to what's going on in this realm, you knew this was coming. I just didn't think it was going to happen 2 days into a second term. I know, we all know that we have to get the country moving in an America First fashion. You have to make some big deals with some big companies, big personalities. And we understand that AI is the arms race of our time. And I'm not sure if Trump is trying to expose these guys or if he's trying to align himself with some alternate Bill Gates-like characters. To begin with, Larry Ellison seems like a great guy, well-dressed, well-spoken, billionaire with ties to Oracle. But I want to point out that one of the big reasons that Trump got elected was due to the way COVID was managed and because of the vaccines, which most people are very wary of. And the American people have given Trump a pass, even though he's had a great affinity for the Operation Warp Speed. And the American public is awake to the vaccine BS. And Trump stands to lose a lot of support from many people, the likes of Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones. He'll lose just about everybody but Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro if he continues down that road. mRNA technology is not a vaccine. They changed the definition of a vaccine to include mRNA technology. So too many of Trump's voters were directly impacted by these vaccines, or they had someone close to them killed or injured by the vaccines. At very minimum, people have questions about the use of mRNA. So Larry Ellison founded the original Oracle as a CIA project back in the 70s, which he later shut down before starting the company Oracle. He then went on to start the company Oracle, which is not a CIA operation, even though they might get a little bit of funding there through there indirectly. But even though its database infrastructure is run on the back end of everything we do, the airlines, Amazon, it's everywhere. So there's so much data. Ellison has always been a big believer in a huge surveillance state. He has wanted that since 9/11, a national security database combined with biometrics, thumbprints, handprints, iris scans, everything. He wants to surveil people all the time. He uses this surveillance at Oracle right now. What Project Stargate is to build huge data centers around the country to inject this type of surveillance into our society. And then you've got Sam Altman, who runs OpenAI, which was not supposed to be for profit, but now is for massive profit. And you may also know that there's some pretty shady circumstances surrounding an OpenAI whistleblower's suicide as he was coming forward with information regarding illegality there. The crime scene was filled with evidence, and it was not suicide, but the whistleblower's evidence went missing. So the internet is filled right now with all kinds of health professionals screaming that this Stargate is not a good idea. Ellison touting that he's going to create personalized vaccines within 48 hours with zero testing. Even Robert Malone, the founder of that mRNA technology, has come out strongly against this, and so has Elon Musk. So mRNA likely causes cancer and is unlikely to solve it. So what I'm saying here is that if we voted for Trump we voted for this guy to get accountability and reconciliation, a Nuremberg 2.0, if you will, not a proliferation of the mRNA technology and more vaccines. What we want is an undoing of what has been done. So my point here is that Trump's got some pretty sketchy ties to the tech oligarchs and to transhumanists like Altman and Larry Ellison. And yes, I'm super happy that he was elected, but I was hoping that RFK Jr. would have at least been confirmed before we had to start the next battle for humanity. So I'm all for technology and innovation, obviously, but I'm no fan of putting these kinds of people in charge of this initiative. So if you're a Trump voter, you have to let your voice be heard and stand up and tell this administration that these are not the people we want at the helm of this ship. There's still time, and we've got a big voice now. So let's let him know. That is unless he already knows and he's exposing them. So we'll see.
Thank you, David. Before we get to calls, I do want to go back to Triumph the Insult Comedy Dog, because we didn't get to a couple of his clips from the People's March that he attended, including a conspiracy theory that he promoted for those in attendance with their pea hats or who had their pea hats replaced by him with pube hats, for what he promoted for them to adopt as their own. Take a listen.
You know how Trump hides his medical records? Yes. He also hides his DNA test. That's right. He recently took a DNA test that revealed that he's 40% sour cream. Release the DNA test!
Release the DNA test!
Trump is ruining people's lives!
Trump is ruining people's lives!
He goes well with onions and chives!
He goes well with onions and chives!
So I don't know if people think that it's possible that Trump is hiding the fact that he is 40% sour cream.
Oh, it's so funny because then the Triumph said there's no facts, there's just conspiracy theories. And who killed Carter? Because he said that once Trump got into office, Carter died soon after. So, I mean, it was funny. And then they stormed a coffee shop, and all of a sudden, Triumph, the dog, was dressed as a QAnon shaman. They painted his face and they put the little hat on him. We tweeted it out so you can see it for yourselves. It's a good laugh.
Danny in Virginia, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I just want to push back a little bit on Cliff May's comments about Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me that Russia had tried time and time again to warn NATO that they kept encroaching on the borders of Russia, and especially after the Minsk agreements. They see it as an existential crisis, and so would we if the same thing happened in Mexico. I'm sure you've heard this before. But this Putin wants to expand his empire. Speeches, I don't see it. So,
thanks for the call, Danny. I'm not completely on board with. I mean, I can believe that Putin has delusions of reassembling Mother Russia, but I mean, there's a little bit of a mouse that roared quality to this belief, whether it is Putin's delusions or other people ascribing seriousness to these delusions. I mean, he's just not in a position to take over or to redraw the Iron Curtain. Okay, so designs and capacity have to both be present in order to adopt the posture, I think, that some do in terms of the threat level. So I agree with that. I don't think Putin's a good guy. I think that he certainly has these delusions of grandeur. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Many of his speeches provide some indication that that is the case. But I don't believe he has the capacity to do so. And to the extent that he makes moves in direction of his delusions, they will not go unnoticed. I mean, unless Obama is in the White House. His incursion into Crimea basically went unnoticed, certainly unresponded to. Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, good morning. All this concern about who's going to pick the nation's fruit, nuts, and veggies, well, that problem is easily solved. Let the newly unemployed DEI folks pick the nation's fruit, nuts, and veggies. After all, they have experience.
Hi, thanks for the call, Glenn. That was a concern raised by Triumph, the insult comedy dog, too, at the People's March rally when he had a conversation with the Gen Zer.
Young man, are you a member of Gen Z?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you mean to come to this march, or were you staring at your phone on the way to work, and when you finally looked up, you were here?
I came here on purpose.
I kid. I know you don't actually work.
So there is that problem, though, that you have to consider. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line on this open mic Friday. Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Always good talking with you. So a judge overturned Trump's executive order on the birthright citizenship
Real
issue.
Surprise there, yeah.
It's about time we have a serious discussion on the 14th Amendment and its real intent. Do we need an amendment or a Supreme Court ruling clarifying this intent of childbirths in the U.S.? And then coincidentally today, as I was listening to you, I got an email message from Senator Duckworth-Less responding to my position on birthright citizenship and also the Laken-Riley Act. And, of course, it was our usual position panning my position. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for the call, Bob. So, look, there are legal scholars who make the argument that the 14th Amendment citizenship clause does not confer birthright citizenship. That's a fact.
Okay.
And it's pretty straightforward. Most of the arguments that I've read all turn on the conjunction. One must be born in the United States and be subject to its jurisdiction. And be subject to its jurisdiction thereof. That's the issue. So, for example, and John Eastman just wrote about this in The American Mind, too. Someone from Great Britain visiting the United States, subject to our laws while here, he must drive on the right-hand side of the road rather than the left. But he does not there owe by allegiance to the United States. He's not subject to being drafted into our army. He cannot be prosecuted for treason. So he's not subject to the laws thereof. And that's the argument they make. I will add, though, and we discussed this with Andy McCarthy. We had a good discussion about this earlier in the week, that is not the tenor of the jurisprudence on this issue to date. So my sense is that the prevailing understanding is that that citizenship clause does confer birthright citizenship as so enunciated by the high court. Could this court take up the issue and come to a different conclusion? Possible. Mm-hmm. Is it more likely that it will require a constitutional amendment that provided clarifying language? That's what I think.
Okay.
So it's a big lift. And it's not, and I know Trump and his people understood that executive order was not going to be dispositive of the issue, but the executive order was clearly intended to do exactly what Bob from Buffalo Grove said, which is prompt this discussion and potentially litigation that would rise to the Supreme Court level and discussion in the legislative bodies as well. Bonnie in Crown Point, Indiana.
Hello, good morning. I don't think enough attention has been given to the concept of self-deportation. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple of ideas. You bring back E-Verify, and you not only E-Verify all new hires, but all existing hires. You put really, really onerous penalties on company owners, where we're talking jail time, if they hire people who are here illegally. Then you remove all the government benefits from these people, except be sure to pay for their cell phones, because ICE can ping their phones and find out where these people are. Now, at the same time, some people may resort to crime to get money and assets to survive in this new environment. Well, then you pass laws, including things like death penalty and really severe punishments for anybody who, say, burglarizes a home and they're illegal, or robs somebody, or something like that. I mean, you make it so impossible for them to live here that they just leave on their own.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Bonnie. Greg in Schaumburg.
Hi, Dan and Amy. I'd like to ask the two of you for your opinion about this in view of the money that Comer has documented and got ready to go relative to China and Russia from the filter, and this is key, of legal, practical, and historical. What's your view of whether Trump should go after Biden in view of the trade-off, the uproar it would cause and the impact on the midterms given our thin margins, and also if we were to lose anything, obviously the dent it would put on Trump, but more importantly, how it would subject him to further hassle in terms of legalities? Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Greg. I think Pam Bondi should criminally investigate Joe Biden.
Bingo. Yep, I agree. 100%.
I think there's more than enough evidence to substantiate a criminal investigation, and it's almost required if you're going to move in the direction of restoring confidence in the criminal justice system and also imposing a consequence for the bastardization of the criminal justice system under that president. Who better to be investigated where there is a basis to investigate it than the person who presided over the disintegration of the credibility of the federal criminal justice system and federal law enforcement agencies like FBI. Who better?
Yeah, and maybe restore some faith in politics. I mean, pardoning his family on the way out, like while he was walking into the Capitol, pushing that through, that just says that they're guilty.
Okay, it's been not exactly command performances over the last couple of weeks, if I'm being honest, from the Prime Minister, but we'll give him another chance.
All right.
Ogden Dunes, Indiana, here's your Prime Minister.
Thank you so much for this chance, Dan. I'm going to submit the paperwork seeking a preemptive presidential pardon for weaponizing General Crack Pottery in 2025. I hope you'll be able to help me out on that. Dan, I have an intellectual, analytical challenge for you, a riddle that will force you to once again put your perspicacity on display. Now, life imitates art, so please name for me the movie where A, a lead character is most Trump-like, and B, the movie exemplifies the deep state's distaste and maybe outright hatred for the Trump-like character. Name that movie. You're going to be mad.
Enemy of the State.
No, sir. Try again. It's a comedy. You know it very well.
Moon over Parador.
Think about the links.
The links? Wait, Caddyshack? What is he, Judge Schmales?
The authoritarian villain deep state is represented by the entire members of Bushwood Country Club. Trump is Rodney Dangerfield. He's a successful, crass real estate developer. He's rough around the edges, disruptive, the most alpha Ishmael in the movie. Consequently, no one in the stuffy club bureaucracy wants him at the table, just like they don't like Trump at the EU and at Davos. And remember, Dan and Amy, in the movie, he wins and the deep state loses. Caddyshack.
Okay, PM. You've somewhat redeemed yourself. That's at least mildly entertaining.
Don't eat the baby Ruth in the pool.
Now I know why tigers eat their young.
Hey.
Kip in Stillman Valley.
Yeah, granted, I'm with you on that one. Way to go, PM. Listen, good morning, everyone. I'd like to say that woman that gave the tongue lashing to Trump in church is a false prophet. But I got to ask Dan and Amy there, who's in charge of the press room and who has seats there to ask questions of Trump? Trump seems to be the boss taking them on right now, and I'll hang up and listen, and everybody have a wonderful weekend.
Well, they haven't had to meet in the press room because Trump's inviting them into the Oval Office, and he just spoke on the White House lawn before heading off to North Carolina and Los Angeles.
It's very difficult to take any criticism of from any member of the DC press corps that's in the direction of access to Trump. I mean, he is the most accessible president in American history. There's almost nobody he won't talk to, inside the bubble there. Even people that he knows are openly hostile to him. I mean, when a guy is willing to do a CNN town hall with Klingon Collins, then it's very difficult to suggest that he's dodging anybody. He doesn't dodge people.
No, he does not.
Whatever you think of him, he does not dodge people.
Oh, I love him. Maybe they'll put Jim Acosta back in there because it looks like he's getting his show's getting the axe from CNN. They're laying off hundreds of people. Actually, they did yesterday at that network.
It's sort of like rounding up illegal aliens in this country who have committed crimes. Whoever gets clipped today at CNN, that's a good start.
Well, did you see Republican Congressman Tim Burchett?
Yeah.
he took to him.
Was covered on CNN. What you're saying, this is not Fox, Congressman. You can't just spin a tail and pull the wool over people's eyes.
Yeah.
This is CNN. This is the news. We're asking you to come on and tell the truth.
And that's why more people are watching the Cartoon Network SpongeBob reruns right now.
I thought he was a great singer.
Dan and Wilmette.
Yeah, I have a suggestion for President Trump. He's in a catch-22 with the water out there in L.A. These people are looking for the money, but will that change and let the thing keep burning? You should send in the Army Corps of Engineers to run the system for the people and the environment, not the eco-terrorists.
Okay, thanks for the call, Dan. It'll be interesting, his visit to California today.
I can't wait to see him and Newsom.
There was some more news on that. There was a story about Gavin Newsom.
Oh, what did he do now?
Clipping this National Guard top wildfire response expert. This individual that was the Washington Free Beacon has the story. Jeffrey Magrum is his name, and he believes that he was relieved of his duty because Newsom deferred to a commander in the National Guard who wanted Magrum gone because he's anti-Semitic. I don't know, about the evidence behind the claim of anti-Semitism, but in terms of what has been posted by the Free Beacon, this guy, General Jeffrey Magrum, has a distinguished service record, and is apparently widely recognized as a wildfire prevention or response expert. So, the plot thickens out there in California. Michael in Crown Point.
Hello. I just want to talk about some of these massive real estate firms that are basically buying up all the single-family homes, a lot of plots of farmland, and there's not really any attention that I see from Trump or anyone in his administration talking about this. Some of the housing prices are double, triple what they used to be 4 or 5 years ago, and it's almost impossible if you're, a young male with a trying to start a family, and you want to buy a home for your baby and your wife, and you're competing with BlackRock, and they're offering top dollar, full price offers. And it's just kind of hard, and I hope Trump and some other people are thinking about us on that.
Thanks for the call, Michael. Bob and Wilmette.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. A couple things. One, it'd be fun to track what Karine Jean-Pierre is doing these days and going forward, because I don't know, was she on the pardon list?
She was not.
No.
Oh, she wasn't.
Reading a binder?
Yeah, the binder. Yeah, well, her performance was nothing short of criminal towards our sensibilities over the past 3+ years after she took over for Jen Psaki.
Yes, she's
She'll probably end up on MSNBC.
She is criminally stupid. I agree with you.
Well, she'll probably spend more time with her family. She's married to Suzanne Malveaux, formerly of NBC.
And that's all sweet and stuff, but I'd love to get a handle on what she and her Raggedy Andy hairstyle are doing. And then, Dan, one point of information on Bushwood. I caddied at Indian Hill, as I know you know well, back in the early 70s when the Murray brothers caddied there. And the Caddyshack's name at that time was Spalding. So that's where Brian Doyle Murray got the name for the character in Caddyshack, FYI.
Love it. Love that. I know I've shared the story before, but Haverkamp, I know Haverkamp was a member there and a good player.
Yep.
And so did you ever caddy for him? Because they apparently didn't like him, and that's why they sort of caricatured him as a duffer in the movie.
Yeah, no, I don't recall that, but I remember they didn't tip. And I came from a large 7-kid Irish Catholic family in Winnetka. My parents, God rest their souls, couldn't afford to live there today, but I was more of the Noonan type of kid. And you carry
it with the waitress in the back of the halfway house, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Trying to in 1973. But I remember dating a girl who belonged there and going to dinner with her and her family and thinking, I don't belong here.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Well, I mean, I know Indian Hill says something. I mean, I like it and all. I don't want to lose my privileges, but you're not allowed to do work in like the men's locker room. Like, I mean, not just like be on your cell phone. You're not allowed to be like on a computer. You're not allowed to be like on a legal pad writing stuff down. That is a very well-governed leisure time at Indian Hill. Yeah, it's a bit. I mean, it's a bit stuffy for me. It's a bit stuffy for me. But I mean, I appreciate it. There's reason these places exist, and that's fine. But the North Shore generally is a bit stuffy for me.
It's highbrow, yes.
Well, they'd like to think so. Owen in Willowbrook.
Hi, Dan. Just want to get your opinion. With Trump's executive order for the 14th Amendment, if you commit an illegal act by sneaking into the country and have a baby to have a citizen, does that go back to, it's his argument, you go back to fruit of the poisonous tree, you committed an illegal act to get something, legal?
No, thanks for the call, Owen. That's not the argument. The argument is the one I mentioned before. It's the conjunction in that phrase in the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, because you don't punish you don't punish the child for the crimes of the parents per se, but that's not the legal argument that's being made anyway. It's not that.
I got to tell you, when I lived in El Paso, we'd hooked up with the Border Patrol night vision goggles and watched. I mean, every night, pregnant women would come over and trying to have babies.
I did want to get to this news. You know how I like to platform original songs online, particularly of a political nature. So there's a new one that I think you'll find is a charming little ditty.
Who's the artiste?
It's by an unknown, but hey, before artists were known, they were unknown. Molly Gawler is her name.
All right.
And her song is entitled BIPOC. And if you want to sing along, feel free to sing along.
Black and indigenous people of color. Black and indigenous people of color. Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and queer. Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and queer. Asian American Pacific Islander. Asian American Pacific Islander. Latino, Hispanic, Romani, and Creole. Latino, Hispanic, Romani, and Creole. We all have a place in this world. We all have a place in this world.
What about the Inuit Eskimos? They got left out. See, this is why she is encouraging people to add to her song, and she'll extend it. I mean, just getting through the genders will make the song about 7 minutes. So, anyway, BIPOC by Molly Gawler.
What does she look like? Or maybe
a folk singer.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Smells like hemp.
Kevin, Austin, Texas.
Hey, Dan, thanks for taking my call. Hi, Amy. I'm curious. Would Fetterman be Bill Murray's character in that movie?
Would who?
Fetterman. Senator from...
Yes, I'm familiar with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would he be the Bill Murray character? Anyhow,
yeah.
The reason I called, I was curious what happened.
Same wardrobe.
Exactly. He's going to pool in a pond. The pond would be good for him.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to all the activist moms and dads who were out there 4 years ago? And I'm just curious, what do you think they're doing now? The people that were going to get involved, change the system, that type of thing. Seems like that enthusiasm has faded away.
Well, I don't know. I think it's probably uneven. You rise to participation when different people have sort of thresholds that motivate their engagement. I think there's a lot of parents that are still active, and COVID got them active, maybe not as active, because the threats are not the same as they were during COVID with respect to their kids' schooling and so forth. But I take your point about the need to keep them active or to reactivate them, particularly in failed states like Illinois, where if there is or becomes a movement afoot to try to change the political power structure, they're going to be important because so many of these people were not particularly political or not particularly ideological, but they are commonsensical. And that's an important part of the Trump coalition. It's going to be an important part of any majority coalition in a state that you're trying to flip. So point is well taken. Rich in Indian Head Park.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Talking about these DEI hires, the head coach from Notre Dame, who is black, they said that he was the first black coach to take a football team to the national championship. Well, can we also label him as the first coach to lose a national championship?
Yeah, okay. Tough grader. Okay, Rich. Close it out with Chuck from Delavan.
Hey, thanks for mentioning my garage band, Dan. Criminally Stupid. Hey, everybody get up here to Lake Delavan and go to this bar called the In Between. And they are raising money for Alzheimer's and a children's hospital. And it's 16-inch clincher softball. Get your cheerleading skirts on and cheer for these people. No cleats, no gloves. So come on up here. It's this weekend and next weekend. Big championship. Come on up.
All right, Chuck. Final word, as always. Thank you.
Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy, and to all of our listeners. Have a wonderful weekend. Today it's going to be cold, high of 21 degrees. It's now 9 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
President Trump is on his way to North Carolina. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We're going to get it fixed up. Should have been done months ago from the hurricane that took place almost 4 months ago.
The president talking to reporters as he left the White House a short time ago. Fox's Jackie Heinrich is in Asheville.
This community is still picking up the pieces as the president comes to visit. Businesses all over are in ruins. There's still rubble everywhere. More than 1 million cubic yards of debris have already been collected, but officials haven't touched the waterways yet.
From North Carolina, President Trump will head to the Los Angeles area to survey a wildfire disaster he says was made worse by water mismanagement.
But they didn't let the water flow, and they still haven't for whatever reason. So I think we're going to have a very interesting time.
But Democratic California Governor Gavin Newsom calls that water talk misinformation. And though he and the president have not discussed today's tour, Newsom says he plans to greet the Trump arrival. One more thing President Trump talked about this morning, the Senate confirmation vote, perhaps tonight, for Pete Hegseth, his defense secretary nominee.
Pete's a very, very good man. I hope he makes it.
It would take 4 Republicans to join Democrats who adamantly oppose Hegseth, claiming he's unqualified amid sexual misconduct and alcohol abuse allegations Hegseth denies, but only 2 GOP senators are a no at this point, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. The Trump White House says federal immigration raids nationwide have rounded up 538 criminal illegal immigrants. Democratic mayors in so-called sanctuary cities still plan to resist. Brandon Johnson in Chicago says,
"We will defend our city." It's just that simple.
Republican Senator Bernie Moreno just reacted, telling Fox,
I think he's looking to get the prize as the stupidest, most ineffective mayor in American history. He's there already. He's just going for extra credit.
We're just getting word out of Russia from leader Vladimir Putin. He's opened the talks on the Ukraine war, but adds it's complicated. This after President Trump's threats on tariffs and sanctions on Russia if Putin doesn't work out a deal to end the war. America's listening to Fox News.
3 degrees above, sunshine at 9:02. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. The possibility of a Chicago Teachers Union strike is growing. CTU President Stacey Davis Gates.
The CEO has stalled, and that since Christmas Eve, we have been doing a minuscule amount of bargaining as compared to the mountain of bargaining